Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to Wrestling Days Live. Just a bit confused because there's a new button. There's a new button that I've got and it said go live, so I thought I'll press it, thinking there was a chance we would go live. And it's worked and we have gone live, but it's not the button that I normally press. So I was like, I'm going to give it a go. So I pressed it and here we are. So I hadn't quite finished eating the protein bar that I was enjoying. But here we are anyway. Hope everyone is well. Shout out to everyone that's joining us. We are live for AEW. And it is obviously a very, very interesting show. We've got Tony Khan making some big announcements. So we are going to be hearing from Tony. He is going to be talking about the AEW World Championship. Lone Star friend Days Eats. I was just munching on a protein bar and I was just coming to the end of it and I was like, what? That says go live. I'm going to press that and see if it does actually go live. And I pressed it, kind of thinking like, I bet it doesn't. And then it did. So I've learnt something new today. But yeah, I was just munching on that. But what was we saying? Tony Khan announcement. He is going to be talking about the future of the AEW World Championship. It is believed that there's been a load of suspensions. So it is believed that CM Punk has been suspended. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks been suspended. Not confirmed, but it is believed. And so that's why I think he's making these announcements. How he's going to word it, what he's going to say exactly, is going to be one of the most anticipated segments. I mean, is he going to come out and say it at the start? I would imagine he will. It's so big. It's such big news. I would imagine that he would come out straight away and just address it. If he doesn't, then it will be seen as a ratings grab. But I mean, like, everyone wants to know what he's going to say. I would not blame him, right? I would not blame him if he walks out at the start of hour 2. If he walks out at the start of hour 2 and does the announcement then, I wouldn't blame him because you've got to get something positive out of this. You've got to find some kind of positivity. And if it means that it just increases your rating a little bit tonight, then why not? Why not? So, yeah, Tony Khan making an announcement. He's going to talk about the World Championship, the Trios Championship. We think they're all suspended. Don't know if there'll be a tournament. Don't know if there'll be a battle royal. Don't know how he's going to approach this. What exactly he's going to say. It's going to be very, very interesting. Nothing in the dirt sheets as to what he's going to say. But we're going to find out. Also, tonight we've got MJF cutting a promo. We're going to hear from MJF. I don't expect MJF to really say anything on the matter. You've got to remember that this is... Well, one of the things is that MJF is the kind of person that would say something. So it is going to be weird if he doesn't. So I can understand it being a little bit of a wink-wink kind of a thing. Do you remember how during the Vince stuff, Acclaimed did a rap, and in their rap, they said about NDAs. They didn't really mention Vince or Hush Money. They just mentioned NDAs, which is obviously what Vince got those women to sign, non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, so that they couldn't talk about what they'd, been through, what had happened. He paid them the money for them to sign an NDA. So they did reference it, but it was still fairly loose. I could imagine MJF making some comments that are similar to that. It'll touch on it, it'll be in the neighborhood, but it'll still be fairly loose. If someone was to interrupt MJF, I could see him saying something like, if you've got a problem with me, you know where my locker room is. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not saying anything specific. It's not saying anything we don't know. Something along those lines. Or it could be like, look, if you've got a problem, come and bite me. Fight me. Come and fight me. Like, it could be something along those lines. But they're not going to go into any kind of detail, anything you haven't heard, any specifics, because apparently there's legal action that's pending. There's a lot of legal repercussions, ramifications. It's a big word for a Wednesday, but loving it. So, yeah, lots of legal implications, ramifications, and other big words. So, yeah, I can't see MJF really getting into much detail, but he might say a little something. And the same with the Acclaimed. I think if the Acclaimed come out tonight and they don't put a little something in, I think it will be seen as being a bit like they've been censored, you know, which is on the one hand understandable, but on the other hand, kind of a bit. So I'm really interested to see what happens there. But I am, let's be crystal, I am not expecting much from MJF and an Acclaimed rap. They ain't going to go into details and stuff, as we said, because of the legal implications. But we've got Tony Khan, we've got MJF, we've got Garcia against Yuta for the Pure title. We got Jericho. Jericho's going to be interesting, man. Jericho will be interesting because I think Jericho's going to be, I could get this wrong, but I think he's going to try and step up a bit and be the locker room leader. And I think he's going to be in a healing mode. I don't think he's going to come out and just be Chris Jericho laying into Danielson. I reckon he'll come out and talk about, you know, a need for togetherness, a need for unity. We can achieve great things if we work together. And then he'll slip into being a heel and, you know, focus. But I reckon he could start it off with trying to put out some positivity to the AEW universe. Because I think they know that this is a real bad look. It's a real bad look. And I think they also know that someone of stature, you know, should go out there and just say a few words, just, you know, tell everyone it's going to be all right. Someone needs to tell them it's going to be all right. And I can't see that person being MJF. I could see that person being Jericho. I could see Jericho coming out, saying a few words, and then slipping into the promo that he's meant to do, which is going to be something with Danielson. But I could see him coming out and saying a few words at first. He's that kind of elder statesman, isn't he? You know? He's kind of there's been a lot of talk that he's been stepping up backstage. There's a talent meeting that's taking place tonight. And apparently it's being really run by, obviously overseen by Tony, but really being run by the likes of, I think, Moxley, Jericho, and Danielson. So, you know, those kind of elder statesmen, those experienced heads, they are coming to the forefront now and really, you know, saying what needs to be said. To be honest, I mean, this kind of drama is very, very toxic. And it really feels like this has been building for a long, 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 long time. I mean, in order for Hangman to have said what he said in that promo, that doesn't just come out of nowhere. I don't think he said that and overstepped a line. I think he said that because things had been building. And then as a reaction to that, you got obviously CM Punk's response, which was to call Hangman out, sit on the floor, lay the title down and call out Hangman Page. Hangman, of course, doesn't come out. And that was completely unplanned. And, you know, it just feels like this has been around for a while. So I think that without having them there, I would imagine it's probably a nicer backstage area. I would imagine that there might be some smiles on faces backstage. I would imagine there's been a little bit of, not picking sides, but just a tension in the air. You know, when your management is like clearly out of sync with your top babyface, you know, world champion, and you know you've got wrestlers that are kind of picking sides. I mean, I think like FTR seem to be very CM Punk. They absolutely worship him, love everything he does. He's got high praise for them. I would imagine they were on his side. Of course, you're going to have a lot of people that the Bucks brought in. And Kenny brought in, they'll be on their side. So this will have caused big divisions in the locker room. I think having it out of the way is just going to be a short-term positive, you know, for a few weeks. It'll be a positive for the roster. The ratings won't suffer tonight. No way. Ratings going to be great. So ratings will be great tonight. But I think long-term, obviously, it is going to be an issue. And we've been debating who will they miss more? Will they miss the Elite? Will it miss the Elite? Will they miss the Elite, or would they miss CM Punk more? Because CM Punk's arguably the biggest ratings mover, and you could say Kenny as well. The only thing is, Kenny is I mean, he's really injured, man. He has come back and he is just being held together by that tape. That black tape is just literally holding him together. So it's hard to know how much you can lean on Kenny at the moment. He's in the trios thing, and I think he's in the trios thing for a while. I don't think we're getting singles matches out of Kenny at the moment. I think he's still in the process of getting off that ring rust. He was out of the ring for a long time. And a lot of the noises he's made is that, at times just didn't know he was going to make it back. So it's stunning. Yeah, it's stunning. I don't think you can lean on Kenny as much as you could. And also, the whole show is basically built on the Elite. It's all Elite wrestling. It was started because of, the work they were doing with All In. You can't, if you take them away, you're taking the foundation away. I can't imagine AEW without Bucks and Omega. It's stunning. It doesn't feel like they can all work together harmoniously. But equally, who do you lose? Your biggest star. The person that's arguably your biggest needle mover. Or do you lose the Bucks and Kenny? Do you lose the Elite from All Elite Wrestling? It's crazy, isn't it? Mitchell said, Days, there's no way there isn't a cheeky comment made tonight about the incident. But what makes the situation different than any... what makes this situation different than any other fight? What makes this different? I mean, first of all, I would say that very, very rarely have I seen such public comments being made. So sometimes you do get things in interviews that then spill over, into like backstage brawls. But to be honest, I really am struggling to think of examples. I mean, of comments that were made that then led to backstage fights that I'm aware of. I think what you hear about lots of fights. I mean, I don't know, Dynamite against Jack Rougeau is very famous. And obviously Brett and Vince after the Montreal screw job. So you do hear about backstage things. You don't hear about them all that often. They probably happen a lot more than what we hear of. But I would say that this one has been played out a lot more public. And actually there's more facets to this one. This isn't just a one-off fight, is it? There's been a lot of stuff building towards this fight. There's been a lot of things that have led towards this fight. And not only that, you're talking about the biggest star. So this would be a fight involving Hogan, Stone Cold, Cena, Roman Reigns, right? Not people further down the card, not mid-carders, not jobbers, not people in the tag division. Like, this is your biggest star against the people that set up the company, against, like, management, EVPs. It's, like, completely different level than other fights, completely different level. I mean, management and against the biggest star you've got, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, Bret Hart and Vince is a little bit comparable because that's arguably your biggest, because he was champ at the time, and it's Vince management. But we know why that happened. We know that there was no build up to that. This wasn't bubbling away for like a while. This was a screw job. This is a one-off incident. Granted, they, changed the contract and did release Bret. So, that was built. But they were still on the same page. It was just that Bret did not want to drop that title in Canada and specifically to Shawn Michaels. So, I suppose in a way that is probably comparable. But, wow, if you've had an incident in 2022 that is in any way comparable to the Montreal Screwjob. One of the biggest incidents, the Screwjob that gets spoken about maybe more than any other incident in the history of wrestling. And you had something in 2022 that's comparable in some way to that. I think that shows just how big this is. I can't say it's as big, but I think right now that you're in the middle of it, it's everywhere, isn't it? Who's not talking about it? Who's not watching Dynamite tonight? It's absolutely everywhere. It's monstrous. Monstrous! I am missing like lots of super chats here. Let me catch up with things. So, Mitchell, shout out to you, buds. Ernesto, hello, buddy. Hope you're well. Said things are getting weirder the longer I'm subscribed. said Ernesto. It's all your fault, mate. It's all your fault. It's all because you subscribed all those months ago. And it has been such a crazy time. I mean, just in general, really. I think if you was to... Could you imagine if you went back to yourself in 2019, say December of 2019? December of 2019, I think around that time, you know, I can't even remember what was happening in December of 2019. I feel like, God, I can't remember. Is that the Lana Bobby Lashley wedding sort of time? Or was that 2020? Maybe that was around that time, Lana and Bobby Lashley getting married. And Liv Morgan coming down, and she was, for the briefest of moments, a lesbian or bisexual or something. I don't know. She had a crush on Lana. I'm trying to think what was happening in wrestling in 2019. But could you imagine if you went back to yourself then and used to say, okay, you were definitely going to need to sit down for this. There's going to be a pandemic, right? Everything's going to shut down for a long time. Vince McMahon is going to retire. Right, he's going to be forced into retirement because of scandal. Yeah. No, I'm not making this up. Triple H is going to take over creative. Yep, Triple H. NXT is also going to drastically change. We're also going to see a massive fallout between CM Punk's coming back, by the way. And also, I don't know, by the end of 2019, if AEW has started. It had started by December, hadn't it? So AEW is still around. But, oh boy, right, Danielson's going over, Adam Cole's going over, there's going to be this massive fight between Young Bucks and, I mean, like, honestly, you're probably there for about an hour going down everything that's going to happen over these few years. Sasha and Naomi, of course, walking out. It's crazy. WrestleMania in front of no fans. It's, I think that this has got to be one of the craziest years for wrestling. Yeah, absolutely. This will be a year that people talk about. Definitely. This time period. I feel like pandemic era, really. Now that we can look back, I think pandemic era is going to be like 2020 to 2022. And I think people will talk about the pandemic era ending, I reckon, when Vince leaves. Because it's such a big moment and it's so close that you might as well just kind of group them together. But there's a little lost period. There's a little lost period where we do get crowds back and Vince goes. That little period, I think, will be shoved in with pandemic era when we look back on this era. There'll be a lot spoken about this time. It's crazy. Anna said, why was Tony meeting Punk yesterday? He didn't meet all of them, just Punk. Tony should make decisions without talent input. He has got zero backbone. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know. I have seen people saying that, and I don't necessarily disagree. The only thing I would say is we don't know if he hasn't met the other talent. There's no reports that he has. So at the moment, it is being reported that it is just CM Punk. I don't know if he's met the others and it's just not been reported, or maybe they couldn't meet him and so he spoke to them on the phone, but he was able to meet CM Punk directly. So maybe it's something along those lines. I mean, look, if this is a HR issue, they're all going to have been contacted. So I don't know. I have no idea on this. I mean, maybe what he's done with Punk is a bit more severe than what he's done with the EVPs, or until this shakes out and until like some details come out, it's gonna be interesting. In regards to that, I'd have to think that HR have took the lead now. I'd have to think that Tony actually takes a bit more of a backseat. The company that I used to work for, when there was like any incidents like this, HR completely took over. The head of HR took over. It was nothing to do with the CEO. It was nothing to do with the managing director. It was HR that took the lead. So now that this incident has happened, I would imagine that HR have taken the lead, and so I've got to think that they've told him to, like, you know, give him a call, try and give them all a call, or try and arrange meetings with all. Maybe it wasn't possible with some. I don't know. I'm a bit torn on it. I'm not gonna bash him over the head for that one yet. just until we see a few more details. Plenty to bash him over the head for, though. If you want to do some Tony Khan bashing out there, then there's plenty to hit him over the head over. Mitchell said, also, did you see my tweets? My chat's playing up. At the moment, I've got it scrolling like super slow. Hang on, there we go. Right, let's see if we can get back to it. Boom. Yes. Did you see my tweet? My favourite day has come, and your least favourite commentator has stepped down for the time being. Also, Sean was promoted. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to dwell on it too much because I really don't like being overly down on things. And honestly, there's a reason why we don't talk about him, and that is because I have nothing good to say. And if we were to talk about him, I would just be going off on one all the time, and I don't want to do that. So that's why it never comes up in conversation. But yeah, I don't know. I think he's stepping away for a little bit. If that's true, I'm over the moon, completely over the moon. I think it's brilliant. I don't know who would come in and replace him. I always thought Samoa Joe did such a good job on commentary. I always thought he did such a good job. I was so gutted when they got rid of Samoa Joe off commentary. I thought he was doing really, really well. I really like Nigel McGuinness as well. I mean, now that NXT UK is not a thing, it would be really good if they could find a way of keeping Nigel McGuinness. And to be perfectly truthful, I really think they need a female voice on commentary. I think that Beth Phoenix was great in NXT. She was absolutely brilliant. Told the story well. She had a lovely tone to her voice. When she got enthused, she was clear. You could understand what she was saying. She made excellent points. You could tell that she really cared about some of the talent. She had a real special connection with some of the talent. And she actually played quite a big part in the Index storyline, with Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis. When Indy Hartwell proposed to Dexter Lumis, she actually went over to Beth, and Beth was the one that had the rings. And Beth was like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" type thing. So if they could find a way of getting Beth on, that would be fantastic. I don't know quite how I would chop it up, because I don't mind the Corey Graves, Byron Saxton relationship. I really like that relationship. I really like them bouncing off each other. It's quite old school. They go back and forth, and I kind of like those two. So I don't think I would want to split that up. But maybe I would go with Beth, and maybe I'll try and do Beth and Michael Cole. That could be quite nice. She's great, but I just don't think you'd be able to convince her to do it. Or maybe you go Nigel McGuinness. Or Wade Barrett does a decent job. Wade Barrett's all right down in NXT. He's a pretty good commentator. So you could go Wade Barrett. So they've definitely got options. But yeah, I can't say I've seen loads of information on that. That's obviously a story that's not high on the agenda with all the AEW drama. So Elliot says Tony Khan looks awful. Whoa, shots fired. He's sat next to Punk whilst Punk trashes his company and top stars, and nodding along. Tony Khan needs to be a boss, not popular. Look, yeah, there's plenty to lay into Tony Khan about. I think that he is someone that has surprised me, because the one thing I would say about Tony is I genuinely felt that he was a good businessman. I didn't know how great he would be at running a wrestling company, because I mean, what experience has he got? So, booking and managing talent, things along those lines. Few question marks around that. But actually, when it comes to the business side, negotiating deals, dealing with HR things, that side I thought that he would be fine with. And in all fairness, the business side, negotiating TV deals and everything, has seemingly gone fairly well for them. So I think he does have a skill set. I also think that it seems to me like he is a little bit, and I don't want to lay into him for this, because it does feel a bit I don't want to say unfair, but some people have got it, some people haven't got it. I think it's as simple as that. It's a hard thing to learn. I think if you struggle to stand up to people and to really be in charge, to be in charge of situations, not just in charge of the company, but be in charge of the situation. If you struggle to do that, that is a very hard skill to learn if you don't just naturally have it. If you do not have you can learn it. It is possible, but it's very, very difficult. If you are a naturally like anxious person, if you are someone that's quite anxious, if you are someone that's maybe a little bit more timid, a little bit more introvert, a little bit more reserved. And I must admit that this, to me, is what Tony comes across as. He comes across as a little bit timid, introvert to a degree, reserved. You know, I think he is doing this because he has a genuine passion for wrestling, which is cool. That's cool. I think he's got a genuine passion, and I think he genuinely wants to put on the best wrestling product that he can, and that's cool as well. I got nothing but respect for that. He could have spent his money on so many things. He could have spent his money on so many things, but instead he is trying to offer an alternative to WWE, and he's trying to offer a product that he didn't feel was in the marketplace. You can question whether WWE has changed now and is a little more like AEW, and you can question now as to whether it is like, you know, kind of more in line with what the AEW fans wanted. There's less silly segments. There's more wrestling, for example, all of that kind of stuff. So I think that Tony is someone that has tried to offer something that wasn't there at the time. I think that he has got good intentions. I think that he has tried to negotiate great deals and done a decent job with that, to be fair. Can't lay into him for that. But I think his failing is that I don't know if he wants to be one of the boys. That might be the problem. I mean, if you look at Nick Khan doesn't seem to want to be one of the boys. Like, I'm not seeing him, like, hanging around the locker room. Like, you get the feeling Nick Khan goes to the office, works in the office, goes back home. He'll sit at ringside to watch the product, and he might go backstage just to shake a few hands. But he's not one of the boys. And I think Tony is. I think he's someone that loves wrestling so much he wishes that he was in the locker room, and he wishes that he was one of the wrestlers, and he wishes that he was one of the boys. And if he could have lived an alternative life, he would have done that. And I think this is a way of him doing that. Dare I say it's a little bit Foxcatcher? I don't know if you've ever seen the film Foxcatcher, but that what was his name? Dupois? Something like that. He was someone that was rich, and he basically bought the Olympic national team of wrestling, had them training in his facilities. He had a team as well, a Foxcatcher team, and had some of the, as I said, the Olympic stars. A lot of the Olympic names were training at his facility, and he wanted to be one of the boys. And basically, you know, he'd train with them. He thought that he could teach them things as well. And like the wrestlers were having to sit through these completely useless seminars, these completely useless training sessions where he was showing them how to wrestle. And he was one of the boys. Now, I don't think Tony is that far gone, right? But I think that probably was a large motivator, was to be one of the boys. And I think as a result, it's very hard for someone that's quite, you know, reserved, a bit timid. I think it's very difficult for him to jump in when one of his idols, one of his heroes, his biggest star, is going off on whoever, whatever. He just has to sit there and, you know, if he interrupts, he's going to upset him. And I don't think he wants to put himself in that position. I can kind of sympathize and understand where Tony is coming from, but equally, that should have been shut down. It should have been shut down. This absolutely could have been avoided. Could have been avoided. Maybe not avoided entirely. Maybe the can would have just been kicked further down the road, right? And maybe there's only so much road Perhaps there's only so long you can, like, you know, avoid this eruption. Yeah, you know, this explosion that came out of CM Punk. Perhaps it was always going to happen. It was just a matter of when. So, but I think that if he had had a word and said, like, Punk, this isn't the time, yeah? I don't think we should do this now. Maybe he could have controlled the situation. Maybe he could have ended the press conference. Perhaps he could have said, we're actually going to stop there. We're not going to make any more comments at this time. Can we just have a word? And maybe do something like that. I mean, that would have been a talking point, but it would have been a smaller talking point than what we've got now. And it wouldn't have allowed Punk to have, do you know what I mean, gone off on one. I think the other issue as well is that when Punk does go off, I don't think Tony quite knew where it was going. I don't think any of us did. It felt weird. I mean, at first he was like, do you know Colt Cabana, Scott Colton? Oh, you do? Okay. Because you've done improv with him. Okay. Well, if you've done improv, shouldn't you really say that? Shouldn't you disclose that? Like, it was really weird. It was kind of, it seemed to be an issue between Punk and the journalist. And then, boom, off we go. I think as soon as we get to the boom, off we go, shut it down. Yeah, could have avoided all of the flipping stuff that followed with EVPs, Hangman, I work with children, all of that stuff. It clearly Punk was not in the right frame of mind. He was not grounded. He was very emotional. He's just come out of that match. Those comments clearly are eating him. Like, it should have shut it down. But I don't want to lay too much into Tony for that. It's easy to sit here and say you should have shut it down, but that's a flaw. That's a flaw that he's got. He struggles in that moment to manage the situation. We've all got flaws. There's things that we all can't do. In that position, he should be able to do it, but it is what it is, isn't it? And listen, he's the one that's got to deal with the fallout now, and it'll be interesting to see how he does that. Mitchell said, people also have to remember that Tony was groomed by sports. He used to... turn that down. Tony was groomed by sports. He used to players have issues with media, not each other. When American sports have player issues, they usually just cut the player. Brian said, I think Tony has gotten more than one swirly in his life. Yeah, maybe. It's so hard to sit here and know what angle to take because I'm so conflicted by it. Like, it's so easy to just stick in and lay into Tony Khan. I think if you are someone that doesn't like AEW, yeah, if you're someone that doesn't care for AEW, don't like AEW, you're going to go to town. There's so much for you to go to town on here. So much for you to feast on. Have fun, yeah? Go crazy. Live your best life. But if you're someone like me that... I wouldn't say that I'm passionate about AEW. What I am is I'm intrigued by AEW. I think having a company just start up out of nowhere, backed by a billionaire, having some of the biggest free agents in all of wrestling signed, like CM Punk, attracting over Moxley, attracting over Danielson, I think is very interesting. And it's been very interesting watching the booking. Some of it's been good, some of it's been bad. Watching the shows, some of them have been good, some of them have been bad. Watching pay-per-views, same. Matches, same. Superstars, same. Wrestlers, same. So I've been very intrigued by it. I'm someone that I enjoy and look forward to Wednesdays, but I'm not blinded by, AEW love. Like, I'm just someone that watches it, and if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't, yeah? So I don't feel like I need to really stick it into Tony. I don't feel like that. I mean, he does irritate me a lot. I do find him irritating. When he's taking shots at, like, WWE, it is a little bit like, shut up. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've been built since the 1960s, and they are the market leaders, and it's like, I don't know. I've grown up with WWE, so hearing him kind of come in and just like moaning about WWE, a product that he clearly loved at some point in his life, he clearly respected, His knowledge of WWE says that he is basically a lapsed fan. He was a fan, loved the Attitude Era, but is, maybe a lapsed fan now. Maybe the product is not reflecting where he is. But even so, it's good for a lot of people. So I said this before. He could have chosen so many different ways to approach this. He did not need to be so anti-WWE. He didn't need to take that approach. Didn't need to be anti-WWE, taking shots at them all the time on Twitter, in press conferences. I mean, he had another little pop, didn't he? Saying that they flooded the marketplace and now he's not going to stand for it. And this is what Jim Crockett must have felt like. And he has like this little breakdown. And I don't think that makes him look very good. I mean, you don't see Triple H doing that about AEW. You didn't see Vince doing it about AEW. I mean, Triple H made a pissant company comment at the Hall of Fame. I think he made that comment once at the Hall of Fame. I mean, it was just a little throwaway line. It was just like a little joke thing at a Hall of Fame. Not super serious like Tony Khan gets. He gets really fired up, really worked up. And I said the other day, it's the message it sends is that WWE is getting into his head. Like, if I was WWE and I saw that comment about how WWE have flooded the weekend, they've, we weren't the only show, that's why we can't get good numbers at the moment. It's going to be the second biggest. We can't be the biggest All Out ever because there was 2 other shows. I'm not going to stand for it. I've got more effing money than Jim Crockett has. I'm not going to stand for it. This is my life. This isn't a game. If I'm WWE watching that, I'm thinking, job done. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, well, we'll do that again. We'll do that again. Look how upset he is. Look how upset he is. We'll do that again. That's worked. Barbara, have a look, see when Full Gear is. Yeah, we'll put NXT show on. We'll put, let's have another WrestleMania. Let's put WrestleMania on that weekend. Because clearly it's got to him and upset him. So, I don't know, man. Some of the messages he sends out, I don't even know if he's meant to be sending those kind of messages out. How do you pronounce your name? Freitas. I know it's Freitas. Yoeo. Freitas. Oh, tell me how you pronounce your name. How do you pronounce your name? Can I go onto Google? Will that tell me? Hang on. I want to get this right. If someone's kind enough to donate, I want to be able to at least say their name. Google Translate. Will that do it? Yoeo. Joel. Here we go, Joel. I couldn't have been further away, could I?
Joel.
Is she all right? She sounds like she's having a stroke.
Joel.
That's better.
Joel.
Okay, there we go. Well, you broke my Google Translate, buddy. Joel Freitas. Come on, guys. You should have known that. In my opinion, I think that this is probably the most weighted Dynamite ever. Oh, yeah. Do you remember that WWE signature? The world is watching. I feel like that applies to tonight. The world is watching tonight. Everyone wants to know what Tony Khan is going to say. I just want to know if he's going to come out and cry. That's all I want to know. Is he going to come out and shed a few tears first? Because this must have been a rough week for him, man. This must have been rough. There could not have been many, if any, pleasant conversations. You know, when you have a chat with someone and you're like, you're going to be the new champion, and their face lights up and they're like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like that, I should imagine that's a nice moment. The moment you get to tell someone they're next, you know? Yeah, all right, you've got to then tell the current champ it's time to lose the belt. But if they've had it a while, I should imagine that's not too bad. So I need you to drop it such and such. Okay, they're next. There ain't going to be many of them conversations, is there? I don't think. Oh, unless he already knows who's going to be the new world champ and who's going to be the trios champ, and he's been able to go and tell them already. But it's going to have been horrible conversations with Punk, horrible conversations with Ace Steel, horrible conversations with the Bucks, horrible conversations with Omega, horrible conversations with the locker room, who was there, who saw what. Just, oh man, could you imagine the network? wanting to know what's happening. Can you imagine the sponsors wanting to know what's happening? Having to have conversations with HR. Oh my God, it must have just been horrible. Horrible, like 48 hours or whatever for him. So, yeah, I feel for him. I do. I can't help it. I feel for him. They've blurred the lines too much, says John. Why didn't Tony just send Hook? Says Rotem. Good question. Days, say Punk does come back. Do you think he won't get the belt that time, considering he's had the belt twice and he's not even had a run with the belt yet? Oh, I don't know, mate. I don't know. I think, honestly, I don't even know if Tony Khan knows. I mean, if Punk comes back, he's still going to be coming back as one of your biggest stars. How has this affected Punk's brand? Like, how does this make Punk look to everyone now? I've seen loads of people on social media saying, "Yeah, I was a Punk fan, but I'm done." I've seen loads of people saying that. People saying that Punk's in the wrong. I was a Punk fan, but I'm done. I'm out. This, all this trouble started as soon as he arrived. He's nothing but trouble, and it's not worth it. I've seen loads of people saying that. I've seen loads of people as well siding with CM Punk, saying, like, I would go crazy if people stormed into my locker room. I've seen tons of people saying that. So even fans are like picking sides on this. Naturally, I think people are looking at it going, who do I think is right or wrong here? And I have to admit, if you are an executive vice president, kicking down the door, charging in, and, having a go is not a great look. I mean, it's questionable as to who threw the first punch. But I think to storm in like that is maybe not what you would expect from an executive vice president or executive vice presidents. And, Ace Steel obviously seemingly upset 'cause his wife was in there. And so he went in. The old biter McGrew. Jaws arrived. Taking bites out of everyone. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? That's crazy. I don't know if I would want the reputation of being a biter. I don't know. There is something dirty about being a biter. I will admit that. Like, if you're willing to, like, gouge men's eyes out and bite and whatever, then that suggests that you're quite a dirty fighter. So, I don't know, maybe it's not the worst reputation to have, but I think it would be cooler if you were seen as going in and just bosh, knocking someone out with one shot. That's cooler, innit? That's cooler than being a biter. If you're a biter, I suppose it feels a little bit, I don't know, play school? Feels a little bit like what happens in nursery. I don't know. I don't think I would want that reputation of being a biter. But it's just all the details are wild, man. Just wild. Markaholic. Shout out to you, buds. Markaholic said, what's Punk doing in the Impact Zone? It's great. A lot of people are comparing this to like TNA, WCW 2000 is what I've heard a lot of people comparing this to. But yeah, I mean, like, look, if Punk does leave, I can't see him going to Impact. I think that I think he'll be done because, to be honest, I don't know where he would go. I don't know what his relationship's like with EC3 and Control Your Narrative. I don't know if there'd be an opportunity there for him to do something. Maybe he'd have a little bit of love for the indies. I think he did even compete on the indies under a mask before he went to went to AEW. I'm sure I saw that he'd competed in a mask. So, he could always, if he still wanted to do a little something, do a little something. If he wanted a crowd, I don't even know what's happening with Control Your Narrative. They put a statement out not long ago saying that their future was uncertain because of losing Braun. Braun has now gone back to WWE. No way do I think CM Punk goes to WWE. He can't stand Triple H, and I just can't see that being overcome. Triple H is quite good at mending feuds, but in all fairness, they've been feuds that haven't been with him. So, Vince had a massive falling out with the Macho Man, but Macho Man still ended up going into the Hall of Fame, and I believe that Triple H played a part in that. He had a massive falling out with Bruno. Bruno Sammartino was very vocal during the steroid trial and the steroid period of time going on network television and really laying. There's even interviews where you've got, like, I don't know, Larry King, and then you've got Vince and Bruno going head to head, arguing against each other. Like they were on TV shows arguing against each other. That's how heated it got between them. Triple H smoothed it over. Bruno went into the Hall of Fame. I think, was it 2014, something like that? Maybe a bit later. But smoothed that over. And Bruno went into the Hall of Fame, got a statue, met Vince, shook hands. Let bygones be bygones. You know, this was largely being driven by Triple H. Warrior came back, which I understand was largely driven by Triple H. He reached out to the Warrior, got the Warrior back in the fold, got Warrior into the Hall of Fame. So feuds between WWE or Vince in particular, Triple H has been very good at smoothing over. I don't think he's going to be able to smooth over the one with CM Punk. I can't see that being smoothed over. I think that one's one that's going to stay for a long, long time, unfortunately. I can't see him going. It'd be interesting, Kenny and the Bucks. Kenny and the Bucks, which does sound like a musical group. Kenny and the Bucks, I don't know if they would go WWE. I don't know. I don't even know if WWE would be interested. I think they would. You'd have to think they would. Bringing in the Elites would be interesting. Bucks against Usos, Kenny against Seth, Kenny against Roman. I mean, yeah, you'd have to think that they would be interested in bringing them in. I don't know that they would go there. They would likely go back to New Japan, would be my guess. But I think it's more likely that the Bucks and Kenny would go to WWE than CM Punk. But, I mean, look, we might not even have to cross that bridge. I'm expecting it to be suspensions all round. You get a suspension, and you get a suspension, and you get a suspension. Everyone gets a suspension. Yes! It's going to be a proper Oprah moment. Swizzle Stick 97. Really appreciate the support, my friend. Big shout out to you. Swizzle Stick 97. The best of all the Swizzle Sticks. Guys, if you're going to invest in a Swizzle Stick, I want you to turn down numbers 1 to 96. Only go for 97. It's the absolute gold standard of the Swizzle Stick world. So Swizzle Stick 97 says, here a world I want tournament. The winner faces MJF in New York. I want Jericho, brackets, he won the last 2 feuds, and Jericho to take the L versus MJF. Did Jericho beat Danielson at the weekend? I'm trying to remember who won the matches now. Like, the whole of All Out has just left my head. Like, it's just gone. It's just completely gone. Everything has been overshadowed by the media scrum. So, it could... A tournament... I feel like we just went through a tournament with crowning Moxley. I mean, how messy is this? God, if you look back at the history of the AEW World title, it's so flipping messy. With people like having to suspend or interim belts. Now we're thinking someone's going to be stripped. CM Punk's going to be stripped. Moxley had the interim title. Now we're going to need potentially a tournament or some way to crown a new champion. It's going to be flipping crazy. So, yeah, I don't know. I feel like tournament is fine. I don't know that I would run a long tournament. I don't know. I mean, you could make an argument that you could run a roster-wide tournament. Part of me would love to see that. Part of me would love to see, every eligible singles male wrestler put in a tournament, and every match over the next, 2-3 weeks at least is just singles male. Well, not just, but any of the matches that are one-on-one guys matches are basically this tournament. And you do that over a space of 2-3 weeks. By that point, you're probably getting down to the quarterfinals, something like that. And then obviously it's a bit more manageable, but at least everyone will have been involved. It's a little bit like what we do here with the FA Cup. If you follow soccer or football, I don't think you do this in America, but here in the UK, we've got the FA Cup. It was established, I don't know, late 1800s, early 1900s, something like that. It's the oldest cup competition in all of soccer. And basically every team is eligible. And when I say every team, like every like professional team is eligible. So like my local town that's got, I don't know, 60,000 people that live in it, they're eligible. There's towns and villages smaller than that. If you've got like a team that's professional or even amateur professional, they are eligible in this competition, and it runs for a long time. There's like over 500 odd teams in it, but yeah, it involves everyone. Part of me would be kind of down for that, but then part of me thinks, because it's a great way to show off talent as well, and it could actually start some new feuds, and it would be interesting because really the person that wins that is quite clearly the most deserving. The person that wins that is quite clearly the best because they've just won this massive tournament. I've always made an argument of that for King of the Ring. I always feel that if you have just 8 hand-selected people, well, what about everyone else? Like, why didn't anyone else get involved? I've always felt like if you was going to do a King of the Ring, like, do it properly. Do it, everyone's involved. A bit like, the G1 has got, I don't think it's got everyone, but it's got a real good chunk of the roster. It's a real who's who in those tournaments. Loads of obviously tables, and a good chunk of the roster is included. There might be some of the lower down guys that don't just make it, but by and large, it's pretty much everyone. So yeah, part of me would lean that way, but then part of me thinks we're just coming out of a tournament. Would people want another tournament, or is it better to just do a battle royal, get it done? Let's establish it that way. Let's not have something that plays out for weeks and weeks and weeks. Let's do something. Let's do a battle royal and keep this show on the road. I don't know. I'm a bit torn on it. I really don't know which way I would go. But in all fairness, if you did a tournament, there's a lot of people that aren't getting a chance to go onto TV. That I think it'd be really good for them to at least get a chance to go onto TV. And you could do it so that big stars are taking on smaller stars. So, all right, your first round will have a lot of squash matches. But at least, some of the names that don't get onto Dynamite would be getting onto Dynamite. All right, they might have to face a Wardlow. They might have to face a Darby Allin. They might have to face a Sammy Guevara. And the match might not last that long. But at least one of them could. And you could maybe, get a bit of interest in someone that puts in a really great performance. Imagine if someone does a really great job against Sammy. This name that we just don't see that often, but, gives them a real chance to shine and really lands on someone's radar. Sammy progresses, but just because the person loses doesn't mean that that's it. We've forgotten about them. It could be a good way of, like, establishing some new talent. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they decide. But a tournament, yeah, could be really, really interesting. But are people a bit burnt out from tournaments? We've just had a trios tournament. We just had the Moxley tournament. There was a women's tournament not that long ago. So are people getting a bit burnt out from all these tournaments? Answers on a postcard. Have you seen Max Caster's tweet? He's got a mic backstage with his name on it. Did you see that Rollins praised the Acclaimed on Twitter, and apparently MJF is kicking off the show? Okay. I haven't. I did see Max Caster. I don't think I saw a tweet with a microphone. Or did I? I saw a tweet with something. I thought it was like a notepad where he was like starting to scribble down some notes, but maybe it was a microphone. But yeah, he's heavily teasing that he's going to be saying something tonight. Heavily teasing, like, don't miss my intro. Hey, now listen. Yeah, don't miss that. But it's hard to know how far he can go with it because of legal ramifications, repercussions. It's hard to know how far he's going to go. I think it'll be like the Vince one where he says NDA, and that's about it. Doesn't really mention Vince, doesn't really mention hush money, doesn't go into any specifics, and of course, why would he? Mentions like NDAs. So yeah, I think there could be a little summer. It would be, I could understand it being hard for him to at least not do something, say something, be some sort of wink. But I don't know. I don't know how far he'll go. I don't know how far he'll be allowed to go. So, but we'll see. It's definitely going to be one of the parts of the show, everyone's going to be like eating the popcorn, isn't it? Like, oh my God, how's this going to go? What's MJF going to say? What's Tony going to say? What's Jericho going to say? What's in the Acclaimed rap? Like, yeah, these are definitely talking points. David said, we have a Lamar Hunt, owner of the Kansas City Chiefs and founder of the MLS US Open final tonight. Also, Penelope Ford versus Toni Storm. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? We have a Lamar Hunt. What does that mean? A Lamar Hunt US Open. Is that the name of the US Open? The Lamar Hunt US Open. We have a Lamar Hunt US Open Cup. It's the US Open. An Open is golf, isn't it? I don't know what that means. Also tonight, Penelope Ford versus Toni Storm. Wow, that's why I'm tuning in. That's the only reason why I'm here. Something to do with backstage altercation, but I don't know anything to do with that. I am only here for Penelope Ford versus Toni Storm. That's it. That's it. And I'm telling you now, as soon as that match is done, I am shutting this watch along down because I have no interest in anything else, yeah? Whatever drama is going on, forget it. I am only here for Penelope Ford versus Toni Storm. Dream match? Absolute flipping 2022 dream match. So, thank you, Tony. Thank you. Where did that even come from, by the way? How have we... Where's that come from? How has Penelope... Where's Penelope Ford come from? I haven't seen her in forever. I haven't seen her in forever. I have not seen Penelope Ford in a hot minute. So I don't know how she's managed to get this opportunity. Perhaps she's on a win streak on Dark or Elevation, or has got some details that she's threatening to leak to the police. I don't know. But, yeah, random. That seems a bit random to me. But maybe someone out there will be like, no. If you watch Being the Elite, 7-minute mark, you'll see in the background there's a conversation. I don't know how it came about. Dream match, though. Dream match. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. Yes. And also, can I take this opportunity to thank Tony for not shutting down CM Punk? There's been a lot of criticism of Tony not shutting it down. But if he had, we would not be getting all of this. Yeah? All of this that I think a lot of us, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us have enjoyed wallowing in like a pig in mud. That's been me, that has. This has been me for the past 2 days, just giggling and wallowing around in the mud. Just having a little giggle, really getting, stuck in, absolutely covered in it all. Just couldn't be happier. Sun shining down, yeah? My little tail going, my little legs kicking out in the air, just wallowing around in the mud, just having a lovely, lovely time. Maybe some piglets suckling on my teats as well, just like, oh, suckle away, piglets. Suckle away, yeah? Just having a lovely time. And I want to thank Tony Khan for allowing me to do that. So, Tony, I appreciate the fact that people have been able to suckle on my teats as a result of you not shutting that down. David said, our FA Cup is the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup. I did not know that, David, and I'm sure that came across very loud and clear. Did not know that, but that's really cool. That's really cool. I didn't know that you had one of those, like something that was open to all. So, yeah, thank you for that. Learning, it's cool, isn't it? Right, here we go then. AEW Dynamite. I mean, listen, their show is called Dynamite, isn't it? What do you expect? Of course, it was going to be explosive. Not called AEW Everyone Gets Along, is it? J14 says, here we go. CM Punk is removed from the music video. Is he? Is he? Was he on it? What have we got? Okay, MJF. So we're starting with MJF. That was reported. You guys already said that in the chat. So MJF is going to open the show. They said we're starting with something truly shocking, and then they go to the MJF moment and MJF returning. So MJF is where we're going to. Lower your expectations, says Corvid, but watch the crowd for fun signs. I was going to put MVP, MJF. That's true. I wonder what fun... I bet, in all fairness, are they taking them away, do you reckon? Yeah, that's good. That's really true. Yeah, well, quickly look at the background, because if there are any fun signs, they could be getting taken away. If you say FA Cup fast without abbreviation, then we've got a problem. It's true, actually. Never done that. That could have been an FA Cup if I did it out loud. Right. We are... an address. Here we go. Oh, they're boos. Forced to vacate. So, Death Triangle, or Best Friends and Orange Cassidy will be the new Trios champs. One of those. Tournament. Okay. There's going to be a tournament for the AEW World Championship. I've got the bracket. We can look at that. So 2 weeks tonight, new champ. Tonight will be great. There we go. Explosive. 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 Guys, things have happened. Things have happened. It was a tournament. You lot nailed it. It is massive news. Taz says that is massive news. Right. Here it is. Let's get it onto screen so that you can see the bracket. I didn't get a chance to read it out. MJF's coming out, so this is going to be fireworks as well. I don't know exactly what he'll say here. I don't know what he's going to be allowed to say here. But MJF making his way out. Okay. He goes over, grabs Taz. Let's see if we can get to the chat. I don't even know what is happening. Punk was fired. Let's go, Max. Massive buyout for Punk. He wouldn't leave without Massive. Punk is overrated. Give a catch-up. There's a smile on the face. MJF is in the ring. There's a sign that says, "Save us, MJF. Save us." We'll see what MJF has got to say. I've got the tournament. He goes down to his knees. The crowd are cheering. I mean, this is MJF's world, isn't it? Hello, New York, says MJF. The devil is back. Hello, New York. The devil is back. Listen up. Who's excited to see MJF? First things first, who's excited to see MJF? So he says he loves Buffalo, New York. Greatest quarterback of all time is from Josh Allen. Don't know. Last time you saw me. Last time you saw me, I might have said some offensive stuff. I'm just... So he says, last time you saw me, I might have said some offensive stuff. What was the announcement? The titles have been vacated. There's a lot of people saying Punk fired, but there's nothing about Punk being fired. There's nothing about Punk being fired unless that's news that's come on social media. How about a round of applause for yourselves? He's being a bit babyface here. There'll be a tournament of champions. I know one guy that deserves that championship. Yeah, I mean, look, he's not referencing what happened. I don't think he's going to. He's grab up the CM Punk figures whilst you can. Yeah, I don't know where this news about him being fired has come from. Johnny said they won't get rid of Punk is a huge draw. He said he's back and he's got a boatload of freaking money. So, chance for MJF. This is a weird little promo, to be honest, from MJF. Very babyface. You might think we're in dark times, but we're not. What we need is leadership, and I can't think of someone more trustworthy. Wow. I'm not telling you I'm Moses. He's better than Moses. Wow, we need a better than Moses shirt, don't we? Better than Moses. I didn't expect Moses to get some heat tonight. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect Moses to take a blow. Of all the people to lay into, I didn't think you'd be sticking it to Moses. Do you know what? Moses has had it too easy for too long. It's about time someone said these. We were all thinking it. It's about time someone had a pop at Moses. Right, Moxley's coming out. Whilst we're waiting for Moxley to come out, let me bring you up to speed. So, Tony Khan has opened AEW Dynamite with a Dynamite announcement. A massive announcement. One that maybe won't shock too many people. It was probably expected. But the AEW World Championship and the AEW Trios Championship has been vacated. There are rumors circulating that CM Punk, Omega, Young Bucks have been suspended. I'm even seeing rumors that of firings, but there is nothing on that I can see confirmation on. So unless that's breaking through on social media, certainly I just checked. I've not been sent anything. I can't see anything. But I would say quite heavy rumours about suspensions. The great Brian Last mentioned those the other day, and Sean Ross Sapp was giving him credit for being one of the first to report that. So seemingly there's something in the suspensions. And now, of course, Tony making the announcement that the AEW World title and the Trios titles have been vacated. But nothing more than that was said. What we do know is that Death Triangle versus Best Friends and Orange Cassidy, which is happening tonight at the time of recording this on Dynamite, that will be to crown the new champions. So either Best Friends and Orange Cassidy or Death Triangle will be the next champions. And in regards to the AEW World Championship, there is a tournament, which let me see if I can correct this graphic. We just got this live from the show. There it is. So Chris Jericho gets a bye. Jon Moxley gets a bye. We've got Hangman Page taking on Bryan Danielson in the first round. We got Sammy Guevara taking on Darby Allin. Winners of those will advance. And then, of course, you can see that final on September 21st. Dynamite Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe Stadium. That is where we will crown the new AEW World Champion. And Tony Khan didn't really say a great deal. He just said that, this AEW over the next few weeks is going to be the best it can possibly be. And just like really, hyping up these tournaments. Didn't say anything about Punk. Didn't say anything specifically about Omega and the Young Bucks. Just really trying to infuse about crowning the new champions. So that's where we are. Hard to know, really, who is going to be victorious there. Clearly no repercussions on Hangman Page, even though he is involved in this in a way. He was one of the EVPs that CM Punk was going off on, but he apparently is still around. So I don't think they'll reward him by winning the title. So I've got to think that Danielson is probably going to win in the first round. I would imagine Sammy will win as well, because that will then set up Danielson Jericho rematch, and it will set up Sammy, who is a heel, against Moxley, who is a face. And then, honestly, hard to say then. I mean, Sammy, Moxley, Jericho, Danielson, quite tricky to know which way we go there and what the final is going to be. But feel free to let me know who you think is going to be crowned the new champion. But that is the current situation in regards to the Trios Championship. We'll get new champs tonight and the AEW World Championship. Right, Moxley in the ring, taking off his jacket. Looks like these two are going to go at it right now. Ernesto said Moses couldn't pull a promo. It's on the Bible. Look it up. Moses couldn't pull a promo. MJF trying to take his jacket off, but he's struggling. His arm is trapped. That's a shame. Oh, no, he's done it. So Moxley wanting to fight is in the ring right now. MJF has took his jacket off. He's looking around. And MJF gets out the ring. MJF jumps out the ring. Moxley is left standing there. Your theme music sucks, by the way. I'm peed off and I'm embarrassed about a great many things. They're letting them talk, aren't they? They're letting them all get their say. What means it to me is what the AEW Championship represents. It represents passion for this sport. Yeah, I mean, this is that G-ing up that I was expecting. Those 3 letters in the AEW World Championship represent heroes during the pandemic. We wanted to show the world what wrestling could be. The AEW World Championship represents the freedom to be as great as you dare to be. Honestly, at this point, you might as well just give him some pom-poms. Proper, like, going at full-on cheerleading AEW mode. It's what I expected. Oh, he's screaming. He loves it. This is great, says Tony Schiavone. Tony's loving it. This is right up Tony's street. Very powerful. Wrestling Craze said, Days, rewind and watch the MJF promo. Triple H question mark. I didn't catch that. I'll watch it during the break. Shola said, this is too much. It is a bit too much. He said, I'm supposed to be on vacation right now. So here's another chance to take another shot. Wow, this is nearly 20 minutes without a break, you know. Bryan Danielson, one of the best wrestlers to set foot in this ring. A better wrestler than I will ever be. Winners always want the ball. Moxie is one-dimensional. This is a fire promo from MJF, says Blaze Radio. MJF mentioned the game, Nick Khan, and he should go to a real wrestling company with real fans. Time to be a legend. Okay. Let's see if I can rewind it back and see this couple of minutes that we missed whilst we were just bringing up to speed with what had happened with Tony. So 20 minutes we've had of... Right now, okay, I saw this. Right now, you might think we're in dark times. Way to burn the AEW World Title prestige. Did you see the Elite sign with a bite taken out of it? Okay. I'm just watching the Moses bit again. What's sad is MJF isn't lying. Cody knew this was going to happen. So I'm just watching the Moses bit again whilst I believe we're at commercial break. 20 minutes into the show. We've had MJF and Moxley. He's better than Moses. Jacob Freeman. I'm better than you and you know it. Oh, and out comes Moxley. So what was the stuff, the back and forth between him and Moxley? Oh, there we go. I thought the Moxley stuff on his own was a bit rubbish, to be honest.
Right. The back and forth, right. The promo leading to MJF cashing in on Mox at the tournament. Let the contracts hit the floor sign in the background. The trios match better not be ruined, says 3 count ringsides. Ace Steel is Shark Boy. You think I'm not being sincere? Okay, so he does turn on him then. So he cuts like this real babyface promo. What was the point of that? What was the point in him coming out as babyface and then going back to being heel? You might be a bit woozy, seeing as you went to sleep on Sunday. Maybe I don't care about AEW. Maybe I don't care about these people. Maybe I see the world title as nothing more than a bargaining chip. The bit is on AEW's Insta page. The American roller coaster, did he say? Tony will turn into Vince trying to babysit all the egos. AEW is tools. It was the strangest promo I've ever seen. To be honest, I ain't feeling it. I'm a bit bored by it. Them returning back to that story just ain't bothered. Like, there's so much real drama that's going on. MJF now trying to shock me by talking about Triple H, talking about WWE, talking about Nick Khan, talking about Cody Rhodes. It ain't doing it. It ain't doing it. There's way more real drama going on that I'm kind of more taken by. They've tried to tell that story, and it was completely overshadowed. He's come back, and that's been completely overshadowed. So now they're trying again. So, I don't know. If you liked it, cool, but... Right, Best Friends and Orange Cassidy versus Death Triangle. What is this? This is for the AEW Trios Championship. Danhausen is awesome. It's a new era for AEW. Thank you, Tony Khan. Did AEW fumble the bad? That was a weak start, says Junior. I think that it was. I think that was a bit strange. I think MJF coming out as a face and then reverting to heel is just a bit unnecessary and a bit weird. I don't get why he didn't just come out and be a heel. Although I mean, like, he still could have delivered the Moses line as a heel. I like the Moses line. Him saying that he's going to win the title, go to WWE. Fine. Great. Well done. It's stuff that he's been saying. Like when we saw him before, when he did his last shoot promo. For me, this is all a storyline which has been completely overshadowed by real drama. So now trying to focus everyone, do you know what it feels like? It feels a bit like don't talk about that. Don't talk about Ace Steel or CM Punk. Look at what MJF is saying. Guys, talk about MJF. He just mentioned Triple H. He just said the real Khan. Don't focus on CM Punk. Stop talking about CM Punk. Don't talk about Young Bucks. Look at what MJF just said. Can you believe it? Stop asking about CM Punk. That's what it feels like. Bit like if you've got a hungry dog and they're in the kitchen and they want food and you try to distract them with like a squeaky toy and you're like, and the dog's like, nah, not having it. Give me more food. I'm a hungry dog. I want more of the CM Punk, Ace Steel, Biter McGrew, Jaws, Shark Boy, whatever you want to call him. I want more of that. I'm interested in going back to that flipping old story about MJF going to WWE in 2024. 2024? That's the story. MJF is threatening to walk out in 2024. When my contract is up, I am gone in 2024. It's 2022. Are you excited for Hangman Danielson tonight? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a good match, I'm sure, yes. But it's hard, isn't it? I just think it's hard to focus. Like, this whole show is about what's Tony going to say, what's the Acclaim going to say, what's Jericho going to say, what's MJF going to say. That's been this show. So, like, the matches just feel very, very secondary. I know they shouldn't be. But it does sort of feel that way to me a little bit. Just because that stuff behind the scenes has been so big. It's been such the talking point. This will do a great rating tonight. And it won't be because of the matches that are on it. It'll be because people want to know what is said and the fallout of it. Days, what song will they end on tonight? I don't know. Always look on the bright side of life. That's what they'll end on. Always look on the bright side of life. Boo-doo, 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 boo-doo. Right, we've got Pac in there at the moment with Trent. And we are underway. This, of course, for the AEW Trios Championship. Primo said, wrestling Twitter blew up the media scrum aftermath and the whole situation was made bigger. It was AEW that barely kept anyone on their toes, wrapped it up in 5 minutes intros, and that was it. Do you think suspension and vacated titles were the right move, says Tugboats? I think so. I don't think there was really much option. I don't see any way that you could have kept them around. I think the only thing you could have done would have been to have looked at it. To be honest, they should not have stormed into his locker room and confronted him. I can understand him feeling threatened 3-on-1 after the comments that he made. I would imagine that they were heated. They were not just, can we have a word? I mean, the reports are they're kicking the door down. It's so vocal and explosive, like Ace Steel is worried about his wife. Kind of that, at least that's what he's saying. So I kind of feel like, how do you not punish executive vice presidents for that kind of a response? They needed to have level heads in that moment. They needed to certainly address the situation, but did it need to be addressed just minutes after? As emotions are clearly still high, could they all have slept on it and dealt with it the next day? It seems like a lot of this has been them running on emotion rather than thinking straight. It's like, we're not going to settle for that. I think part of it is when you're one of the boys, when you're in the locker room, if you've got a problem with someone, you go and confront them. There's a big difference, though, when you are an executive vice president. You can't have that same approach. It's got to be a lot more HR friendly. It's got to be a lot more structured. And, that was the wrong approach. So I think Kenny and the Young Bucks were always going to get some kind of slap on the wrist. I didn't think they would be fired. So suspended makes sense. And stripped to the belts makes sense. So I ain't got an issue with that. CM Punk, I don't know what you do with that. Because he did make those comments. And it's going to be very hard for people to work with him. And honestly, if anyone was going to get fired, CM Punk might have been the one. I can't see Kenny and the Young Bucks being fired because, honestly, what did they do wrong other than storm into the locker room? Which, is that a sackable offence? I don't think they threw the first punch. I am sure I read CM Punk threw the first punch. So, I mean, obviously things could change if it turns out to be one of the Bucks that threw the first punch, maybe you could argue that's sackable. But is it sackable that they barged into his locker room? Don't know. If I was sat there, I'd be like, take the belts off them and suspend them, like maybe fine them. But I don't know that it's sackable. CM Punk, because of his comments, that's tricky, innit? I mean, he is really going to have said some stuff that's upset people. He's just gone off. I mean, look at Colt Cabana. What's Colt Cabana done? Colt Cabana hasn't done anything here. To my knowledge, he's not said anything, done anything. Since CM Punk came in, he's kept his head down and he's just done whatever he's done. So I do feel a bit for Colt Cabana because there was a lot of stuff said by Punk, which is completely unprovoked, seemingly. Now, yeah, all right, it's from their past. It's from their past, but there's nothing in the immediate past that has sparked that apart from journalists asking questions and, Hangman or whoever EVPs maybe stirring it up a little bit. So I feel a bit for Colt Cabana, and it's like, then obviously he's going off on EVPs as well. I don't know. That one to me is a little bit trickier. But equally, maybe you look at that and go, it's not sackable. And he is just top star. So it's really hard, isn't it? It is really hard. Whatever you do here sets a precedent. If ever this happens again, this will be used as a benchmark. So you have to be careful and think about that. Because if someone else does the exact same thing, they will point to this incident and say, hang on, when someone else did it in 2022, when someone else made these comments, you only suspended them. So why am I being fired? So whatever they do here sets a precedent for what is to follow. So all of that gets taken into account by the HR department. So I don't know how much of a say Tony has had on this. I would imagine he largely left it to HR and obviously gave his input. I mean, if HR advised they wanted someone fired, he might have stepped in and went, no, we definitely can't fire. Can we just suspend or something like this? But yeah, HR would have had a big input on this. So do I think it's the right thing? Probably. I tell you the bigger thing, though, than the suspensions. How are they going to work together after? Like, all right, you've slapped them both on the wrist. Yeah? You've slapped them both on the wrist. How the flip do they work together after? Like, what is the way forward? How does this situation improve? There's a "this is awesome" chant. 3 Count Ringside said, I'm enjoying this match. Trent Beretta. Penta's driven down. That's a bit sloppy. Kick out by Penta. Pac making the save. Ace Steel is the new Luis Suarez, says James. Johnny said they'll be suspended and possibly sacked after an investigation. Ishmael said CM Punk and the Elite have been removed from the Dynamite intro. Let's be honest, Tony wants everyone's mate instead of being proper punishment. Now he's made a rod for his own back. Also, Tony doesn't have the guts to go in front of a crowd. Super kicks by Death Triangle. Against the ropes goes Phoenix and Penta. We get Destroyers. This is about to be a brawl. Condonordi says, I'm on the verge of falling asleep. This is just... Over the top goes Phoenix. Twisting plancha to the outside. Here's Penta. Penta goes over the top. He comes crashing down on everyone. Everyone falls down. Oh dear. We got Pac up top. It's a cool move. And he gets it. That might get it for him. 1, 2, 3. Death Triangle have won the AEW Trios Championships. Good decision. Why doesn't MJF cash in his giant chip tonight? No match needed for him to be a big heel and cash it in on the night the finals are. All the men to fight in the tournament for nothing. I mean, what's he cashing it in on? I mean, if you cash it in, you got to cash it in on a champion. There isn't a champion. I mean, it raises an interesting question. What if he went to Tony now and said, I want to cash it in now? What would Tony do? It'd be like, well, I haven't got a champion. There's no one to cash it in on. And he's like, well, do I just get the belts then? I don't know. It's a bit of a grey area. I've never seen anyone do that. Oh, hello. Dark Order is not for sale. Here's Andrade. Punk to New Japan. Days, I guess the Young Bucks kicked down the real Forbidden Door, says Ro. I miss Orange Cassidy's Pixies theme. Yeah, I do as well. I think his older theme was better. I agree. Dark Order's still a thing. Weird segment. Yes. Is Punk fired? No. Not that I've seen. That guy cuts a promo as sloppy as he wrestles, says Jonathan. MJF, better look out for Tyson Fury, says Zoom Station. Venom said this show is a wash because they refuse to speak on the event. In fairness, they can't really speak on the event. I can't blame them for not speaking on the event. I think it's hard to know what they do, to be honest. And I think what we've had has not been right for me. Now, for some of you out there, you might love it. This might be brilliant for some of you. Some of you out there might be like, oh, this has been such a great show. For me personally, the MJF stuff at the very start, I thought was kind of interesting. Him coming out as a baby face. I think they could have run with that for a little bit and then turned him heel. I don't know, like further down the road. Maybe once he got a hold of the title, perhaps he was hoping to babyface himself to the belt or something. And then as soon as he gets the belt, he's back on. He's finally got the championship. He can be himself. He can drop the act. That could have been fun. That could have been a bit more interesting rather than just Moxley comes in and goes, I'm not buying it. And then MJF goes, oh, well, yeah, you're right. I hate this place. That to me was just a bit strange. Him going and like trying to do a pipe bomb, dropping Triple H's name, just that. I know people enjoyed it, but honestly, to me, maybe because I wasn't watching it live, because I was obviously talking about the Tony Khan announcement, maybe because I went back and watched it, it didn't have the same impact or something. But for me, that just seems a bit, as I said, talk about this now. Don't talk about CM Punk. Look at this. Look at this instead. We've just mentioned Triple H. Can you believe it? Believe it. Like, to me, it's just a bit, I don't care. I don't care. Like, I'm more interested in the fire that is happening backstage. And like, what is going on with your world champion and your trios and all of that. So, yeah, that seems a bit like a desperate distraction in my eyes. Then the Moxley stuff where he was just getting really fired up, like saying what AEW stands for and trying to be like, it's the 3 letters stand for fighting during the pandemic. And I don't know, God, calm down. I don't know. Again, maybe there was people that had tears in their eyes. Perhaps there was hardcore AEW fans that fainted with emotion. I don't know. But it didn't have that impact on me. And then, to be honest, I didn't catch all of the trios because I was going back and watching. But I've never been the biggest fan of Penta and Phoenix. I think there's, that style, as we've said, there's a lot of no selling. It's very, let's do this spot now, let's do this spot now, let's do this spot now, let's do this spot. Lots of things being set up, jumping on them, or they all fall down. that's not the kind of style of wrestling that I personally enjoy, but I know that many people do, so I'm not laying into it. It's just, I'm being honest, it's not for me. So far, 40 minutes in, the announcement was interesting. The Moses line was good. We have had new Trios Champions crowned, so that's noteworthy. But really, I would say that's all I'm taking out of it. So, and then, the rest of the show is going to be the rest of the show, isn't it? I suppose we've still got the Acclaimed rap potentially to look forward to. Hangman against Danielson could be a fantastic match. So, I was asked just if I'm looking forward to that. I suppose now that we're kind of moving past the start of the show and we're kind of settling into Dynamite, I suppose, yes, I am looking forward to that. And I suppose in a way now, are we moving into a bit more of a normal show? Perhaps it feels like now we are settling into a bit more of just a Dynamite now. Perhaps to give them fairness, to be fair to AEW, perhaps it was built up so much. What is going to happen? What is happening tonight? Perhaps it was built up so much there was no way they could do anything that was going to please us. There was no way they were going to be able to deliver something that was going to satisfy, because they can't really talk about it, can they? So, Penelope Ford is here. Wrestling Craze. Do you know why Malachi was released? Do you know what? I've not seen confirmation that he has been. Everyone keeps saying he has been. And all it's linked to is something from Sean Ross Sapp that says several talents we have spoken to are reporting that Malachi has been released, but we cannot get confirmation on this. I have not seen confirmation that he has been released. So apparently his mental health is, not in a great place, and he wants some time, to go and, collect his thoughts or whatever. I don't think he's loving how he's been booked as well, which I can understand. I think it's been a car crash, really. I think it's just not been great. Since he first came in, I've been pretty critical of how they've used him. I thought putting Brody King with him was pretty cool, but he is no threat to the main title at the moment. No threat to it whatsoever. And the House of Black, I would argue, are not even a top 3 faction. I feel like, you've got the Elite, you've got the Undisputed Elite, Death Triangle. There's other factions that I would argue are probably ahead of House of Black. So I can understand him being frustrated with his position in the company. So, he seemingly does want out. But if he has been granted his release, if those rumours are true, then it is apparently going to be conditional. And I think the conditions are that he won't be able to go back to WWE. I don't quite understand how they can do that. I don't understand how he can get out of his contract, but there is a stipulation that says you can't go to WWE. I mean, would it be for the remainder of what his contract would have been? You can't go to... So if his contract ran to 2024, then they could say, we're going to let you out of your contract, but we'll need you to sign this new deal, which terminates the old deal, but it basically says you can't go to WWE until 2024 at least, which would be, what you was under contract for here. So you can go off and work for other companies, but just not the WWE. I mean, I suppose that is you can keep your current deal, which locks you here, keeps you here, or you can sign this deal, which lets you go, but you can't go to WWE. I mean, if that is true, I don't know what you do, to be honest. I don't know what you do. Because where would he go and work? New Japan? Impact? I mean, I don't think Impact's paying too much. It might get something out of Impact, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what he does. Would that even be something that we'd have to think about, Or does he just want out? Maybe his mental health issues are legit and he really does want to get them dealt with. Maybe he's tired with wrestling or something. He got burnt on the main roster. I think he had a great time in NXT, but I think he got burnt on the main roster. And I think he definitely got burnt in AEW. So, yeah, interesting. It means MJF Miz at Mania 40. Right. Punk to Stardom. He's going to go to Impact, says Kreese. WWE is rent-free in Tony Khan's head. Primo said AEW will do a big rating, but how many people tuned out after the first 30 minutes? They heard what they needed to hear and looked at the match cards. Is it going to be strong enough to keep people watching? I think Danielson, Hangman will keep people around. I think this show tends to do 950 a million anyway. I think that you will have had a big opening to the show. I think undoubtedly once they got the news that the title's been vacated, Tony Khan doesn't mention CM Punk, doesn't mention anything. There's no mention of suspensions, no mention of firings. I think you had to know that if Tony Khan's not mentioning that, you ain't getting it from MJF and you ain't getting it from Jericho. So I would think as soon as that was announced, people probably did step away, yes. I think people probably did step away. But it's going to be very, very interesting to see the number, of course, because I think people have tuned in. I think people may stick around for Hangman Danielson. They might stick around for that. But not everyone. Not everyone. But I think you'll have your normal crowd and then a few extras that will stick around. And, of course, even more that tuned in for the first 15, 20 minutes. So, yeah, I think this does a million. I think it does a million. I don't know if it's doing 1.2 or anything like that. I think we're over a million. We do, I don't know, prediction-wise, I'm going to say 1.124. Don't know. I'm going to go 1.124. Because I agree. I think that it's big at the start and then I think it tails off and kind of largely levels out. Hangman will be booed. His reaction will be very interesting, yes. Peter said, what did Tony say? I've actually done a separate video for it, buds. So you can check that out, but I'm quite happy to tell you. It was basically that the title's been vacated. There wasn't really much more than that. Title's vacated. We got new Trios champions, just crowned. It's Death Triangle. So Death Triangle are the new Trios champs. There's a tournament, which I think I still have the image, actually. There it is. That's the tournament for the World Champion. I said in that little recording that I did that I think it'll be Sammy and Moxley. I think it'll be Danielson and Jericho. I don't see why you would progress Hangman. I think that he is a part of this problem. I'm surprised that he's in this match, to be honest, in this tournament. Tony has has she got the 3? Yeah, Tony's just beat Penelope. That was another talking point as well, by the way. The other talking point was Toni Storm saying Thunder Rosa says she's injured. So when she says that she isn't anymore, she can come back, lose to me, and all of this will be sorted. So, you know, Tony Khan went, well, that's a statement. So, a few question marks around Thunder Rosa's injury, and there's even rumors that she has requested her release. Danielson will win it. Danielson winning could be very interesting. Yeah, Danielson winning could be very interesting. We're just seeing Bray Wyatt when Bray Wyatt got involved. Hangman's not an EVP. That's why he wasn't suspended. Yeah, but he was involved because of him going rogue in that promo and him dropping those comments into that promo. I mean, you can make the argument that if he's going to have been punished, it should have been around that promo time. And, you know, maybe we're past that point now. But he is involved in this. Granted, to a lesser extent, because he isn't someone that's barged in to the. Oh, here we go. Acclaimed. Listen, everyone is. Here we go. No! Swerve's interrupted! Ah! Yo, now listen! And Swerve has interrupted. Penny! Oh, God! It's one of the only thing I was so excited, like a kid at Christmas. A-hole chance. Biggest heel in wrestling right now. Biggest heel in wrestling. A-hole chance. Swerve want the smoke. Biggest heel move ever. No! Yeah, smacking one, Billy. I love the Acclaimed. This ain't your house no more. This is Daddy Ass's house. Yeah. It is. This is Daddy Ass's house. Sesame section. Arthur Ashe Stadium. Arthur Ashe. Sesame Daddy Ass. I love these guys. I love these guys. They're like, honestly, amongst my favourite part of the show now. They are so over it. They are so much fun. They're fun. They're fun. And they're genuinely funny. Yeah, love these guys. Can't believe we got robbed. Got robbed. Been robbed. Feel like phoning the police. Been robbed. Let's go, the Acclaimed. I would have Keith Lee and Danielson in the finals of the title. Fans would love it. Both are easy to work with. No drama. The Sesame thing is stupid. Do they realise what they're saying? Yeah, but the thing is, if you think about the Too Sweet, yeah? And how people love doing the Too Sweet. Like, these kind of hand gestures, the yes, right? The thing about wrestling fans is they love to be a part of the show. And obviously, there's only so much you can do. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like, you've got, obviously, Diamond Dallas Page. You've got the yes chant. You've got the Too Sweet. I mean, the Sesame thing is so clever because, like, you know, the fans can do it. Like, you know, they're in the crowd. They can do it with their friends, like, joining along as well. You can do it at home. Turn to your partner. Turn to your loved one. And out of the blue, just go, Sesame, darling. And you can, like, you know what I mean? Like, wrestling fans, it's interactive. They can take part in it as well. And, yeah, I mean, of course, they know what they're saying. They know what it all means and everything. And it's cheeky. It's fun. It puts a smile on people's faces. The Acclaimed are a great team as well. I mean, their match is one of the best matches I saw this weekend. In fact, I might say it was the best match of the weekend. I really, really loved it. And I so wanted them to win. I think, Billy Gunn, I didn't like his kids turning on him. I wasn't a fan of that. I mean, to me, that's just silly. So I wasn't a fan of, like, the Gun Club turning on their dads and him seemingly not being that bothered. But whatever, put that to one side. Him being with the Acclaimed, being Daddy Ass, Sesame Daddy Ass, and all this kind of stuff, like, I love it. I think it's brilliant. I just think it's fun. I think it's cheeky. I think fans can take part in it as well. And I think, like, they've struck gold on that. I think they've really struck gold on that. It's really, really good. It's one of my favourite parts of the show. So, and I was not crazy about the Acclaimed at first. I kind of thought the raps have definitely grown on me. I remember like hearing them at first and not being that taken with them, but I don't know. I don't know if I get it more now, or I don't know, or if like they've improved. Maybe they're a little bit more cheeky than they used to be. I mean, obviously, I think the one that really kind of made me go, whoa, was the Julia Hart one. You know, when he got in trouble, he got a real slap on the wrist for that one. But it was around that time that I was like, wow, they're put. You know, he might have gone too far in that, but he is pushing. He's pushing. He's really pushing things. He's really trying to get as cheeky as possible. And since then, like, you know, you've been waiting to see what his raps are going to be like and what he's going to say. And it is one of my favorite parts of the show. There is some really good stuff on Dynamite. I'd put the Acclaimed up there, Danielson up there, really really good. I love Serena Deeb. I think she's fantastic. We're backstage with Jericho now. Jericho and Sammy. Chris Jericho found the fountain of youth. Drink it in, man. That's why I was able to beat Bryan Danielson. I'm now the best wrestler ever, the best sports entertainer ever. What? BWBC. What's that? Best wrestler. This is my effing locker room. Ever. This is Jericho's locker room. Jericho just gave away the win tonight. He said he'll face Danielson in the tournament next week. Your turtle ass is getting beat, and we don't like turtles. Okay. We don't like turtles. That's a great line. Turtle hate. Yeah. I think W. Morrissey needs to spell one word for Tony and tell him he is SAWFT. Okay, so they're just admiring each other. Yeah, that was interesting about Jericho saying that he'll face Danielson. I don't know if that... I mean, was it a misspoken or was it that he's just got confidence that it will be Danielson? Was it like, I will face Danielson next week? Is he just saying, I know it'll be Danielson because he believes that he will win, or was it a misspoke, like, spoiler? You know, I mean, I expect it to be Danielson. As I said, I think Hangman, it is Hangman, isn't it, that Danielson faces? Yeah, Hangman. So, I can't see them rewarding Hangman with a victory in the first round and getting through. He might not have been a part of charging into the locker room, but he is still a part of this problem. It's still his comments that have fired up CM Punk that has escalated this and led to this. Here comes Wardlow. Rate of viewers loss in the stream is about 100 every 13 minutes. Well, in all fairness, it is normally a pretty good reflection. It's not always in line, but you can normally see how popular like the watch-alongs are, and that'll give you a good idea as to how popular the shows are. There is a correlation. So in fact, I wonder if I can see the thing. I have access to a little graph that shows us how many people are joining us live, and I can tell you if I can see it. I never look at it, to be honest, until the stream's over. But that makes sense. That makes sense. Can I show you guys? I'll see if I can show you guys, because I think this is quite interesting, and it may reflect the viewers. Here, look. So, can I... This is our stream, right? This is a graphic. So you can see it says there's 1,000 people watching. The stream's at about 17,000 views in total. You can see like the graph. So that first hour, it builds till about half an hour before, and then it tends to flatline actually. But just as we get to 1 o'clock, which is when the show started, there is a little jump up. So, which makes sense. And then it does dip back down. So you can see that from 1 till about 1:15 for this watch along, that's when it was the peak of interest. So it's everything you would imagine. That kind of first 15 minutes has been like the peak of interest. And then since then, it has just been on a bit of a gradual decline. I would imagine. I mean, look, I don't know what our normal viewership is, to be honest. I seriously never look. I probably should, but I never look. But yeah, I mean, look, this will probably decline, keep going down until it reaches what our normal viewership is, whatever that level is. Because this is obviously bigger interest because of what's happening. So yeah, I don't know if that helps. I don't know if that's of interest. If the AEW rating's going to reflect that, then it could look like a similar graph with the first 15 minutes being the pinnacle, if you will. The pinnacle. So maybe that helps, maybe it doesn't, don't know. Wardlow's picked up a victory already. Wardlow is the TNT champ. And it's time for me to remind everyone in this business, and all my fans that have stood by me since day one. Let's not forget day one was back in January. WWE Day One. Fantastic event. So a fired up Wardlow said he wants to remind the fans of what he is all about. We're just over halfway through the show. And Broken said it's normally between 500 and 700. Okay, so my guess is then that it will just gradually keep settling back down to that level. And then it'll probably stick at that level. And then maybe once we get to Hangman Danielson, it'll just have a little spike towards the end. We'll see a little bump up towards the end. I've got to think that's our main event tonight. We're just moments away from the Dynamite wild card in the AEW Grand Slam of Champions. I don't even understand what that means. We're just moments away from the AEW wild card in the Grand Slam Tournament of Champions. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Have I got the... I don't even have those graphics anymore. Did that graphic go? Where did they go? How did I lose that graphic? Here it is. Oh, it's Danielson. Hang on, who's the wild card? Okay, so this is the Grand Slam Tournament of Champions. I didn't even realise this tournament had a name. It's the Grand Slam Tournament of Champions. And apparently one of these is a wild card. Right, Danielson making his way down. I would have thought this was the main event. The American Dragon. What is the reaction for Hangman Page going to be? What is the reaction for Hangman Page? It means the tournament is about to start. I didn't get what the wild card thing was. the wild card in the Grand Slam Tournament of Champions. So I was thinking, I was like, there isn't a wild card entry in that Tournament of Champions. There's no like mystery spot. There's no like big reveal of who is this wild card. So that's what was throwing me off. Here's Hangman. What's the reaction? Certainly not. We're a long way from... Do you remember when he was built up to be champ and everyone was firmly behind him? We're a long way from that. No one's booing, but no one's... Yeah, that's not great. Hangman goes over, puts his arm out, and the crowd are like... No one's booing. They don't seem to want to boo him. But people are not going... They're not losing their mind either. Is there a cowboy chant, though? I think one was trying to start, but I don't think it got anywhere. I feel like the crowd are with Danielson, but in all fairness, they're not chanting his name. Triple, I bet Tony Khan. Tony Khan is horrible. Let's go, Brian. LC said, boo him. Next show, when the Elite comes out, we need a Target chant. Yeah, can I just say, I feel so sorry for Target managers. That was uncalled for. CM Punk was like, these EVPs, they couldn't even manage a Target, and I bet every Target manager went, excuse me? Oh, I'm sorry. You do understand what a logistical nightmare managing a Target is? You do realise that we have several shifts, and like on the books, there's around about 50, 70 members of staff. I have to manage holidays. I have to manage sickness. I have to manage HR issues. I have to do health and safety checklists. When we're cashing up, I have to look at any discrepancies. Stock orders. You think this is simple? Oh, I'm sorry. Is my life a joke to you, CM Punk? You think that we just open the doors and Targets just run themselves, CM Punk? If I was the Target manager, his face would be going right on the board of banned people. I would be saying to the security guards, you do not let this guy in. He shows no respect for the work that we do here. Completely unprovoked. Unless he turns around and said he had a really bad experience in a Target. Completely unprovoked. Justice for Target managers. Paul Carpenter said, and if you are a Target manager, can I just say, when I went to America back in late 2018, I went to a lot of Targets in Florida, and I think you have got wonderful stores. Wonderful stores. I went into a lot of Walmarts. I went into a lot of Targets. A lot of GameStops, FYEs, Walgreens. I think you do wonderful work. I'm not just saying it. I think you do. I think you do. I was going looking for different figures, and the shelves were stocked, the sections were tidy, the staff were friendly. You've got a good product range. Great variety of stuff in there. You can have a little potter around on a nice sunny day. It's great. It's great. I don't understand this Target. Hey, I do not get it. I know we're spending a long time on this. We are talking about the things that other channels maybe don't put a light on that they should. Because it's the common working man. It's the blue collar man. It's the guy that grafts at work all day that's the one that gets spat on the most, isn't it? Disgrace. Should have been fired for that reason alone. If I'm Tony Khan, I'm thinking there's probably a lot of Target managers that watch our show. Thanks. Thanks, CM Punk. Thanks for that. It's all well and good having a pop at EVPs, but Jesus. What are you going to have a go at next? charities, children. Paul Carpenter said, I bet you Swerve, Keith, Samoa Joe, Malachi are all peeved that Vince left and they signed. They're signed to AEW now that Triple H is in charge. Yeah, I'd imagine there is probably a bit of sadness there, but how are they to know? They weren't to know, were they? They weren't to know. Danielson spills to the outsides. Nice little early exchanges here. Slow pace to this one. Definitely got the feeling it's going to go for a while. No fast out of the gates action. Much more the kind of match I personally enjoy. Danielson grabbing the arm of Hangman on the outside into the ring post. And down goes Hangman. If we are at picture-in-picture, I am ignoring the match. This is what ruins matches for me. Is that you lot go to commercial, we don't on Fight, and so I have to watch about 2-3 minutes of wrestlers lying on the floor. Completely takes the energy out of a match. AEW should do a Target commercial every episode now. Yeah. Do you know what? They could have fun with it, actually. You could have, like, a different wrestler coming in. Are you a Target store manager? We here at AEW just want you to know that we value you as a loyal fan of the AEW brand. And we just want to take this moment to say a big thank you for all the hard work that you do. Why wasn't Toni Storm not in trouble for what she said about Thunder Rosa? Well, she implied something, but she didn't really shoot, did she? I mean, she worded it very well, actually. She said, Thunder Rosa says she's injured, so when she says she isn't injured, she can come back and lose to me, and all of this will be sorted. Well, it is true. You know, Thunder Rosa has said that she's injured. So, you know, in a way, Thunder Rosa is right. It's just that it's being heavily implied that it's only that she's saying that she's injured and she's not actually injured. So it's very, very clever because, you know, what's he going to have a go at her? She has said she's injured. So when she says she's not, she can come back and I'm going to win the match. I've got confidence that I will win the match. Like, I don't see what I've done wrong. There's not really too much you can do with that one. It's cheeky. And if you feel that it did overstep a line, you might give her a slap on the wrist. You might give her a little fine or something. I don't know. But in all fairness, she implied something and I don't think went too far with it. Completely different to what CM Punk did. There was no implying, was there? CM Punk didn't come out and imply that he had an issue with the EVPs. He was quite clear that he had an issue with the EVP, so I would say it was quite different. Rob said, Days, check Fightful paywall. I am a subscriber to Fightful Select. Yeah, they do good work. Let's have a look and see. Right, we are back. We've got Hangman down. They've been on the outside a long time. I didn't see if they did roll in or something. Last night, we gave you what we heard of CM Punk, a Steel side. Now we've heard from the other side. Please note, this is one side of the story. Sources close to the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega's side say that the Young Bucks went to talk to CM Punk as he had outlined that they should do it if they had a problem. That is true. He did say, if you've got a problem to me, you know where I am. I'll be in the corridors, kind of a thing. Although I didn't hear him say, please come and kick my locker room door down and confront me 3-on-1. I did not hear him say that. I heard him say that the EVPs weren't good enough to even manage a target. I heard him say that. I heard him imply that managing a target is apparently a real easy thing to do. Sources close to the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega's side say that the Young Bucks went to talk to CM Punk because he had outlined that they should do that if there's a problem. The claim was they opened the door, not kicked it in, as has been reported by the other side. And before Matt Jackson could say anything, Punk went off and started throwing sucker punches to Matt's head. Nick went to intervene and Ace Steel threw a chair and it hit Nick in the face. Kenny Omega involvement was said to be him trying to remove Larry from the situation to help keep him safe because he was barking and going nuts. Their side of the story said that once he handed Larry off, he tried to get Ace Steel off Nick Jackson, and Ace Steel bit Omega and pulled his hair. Yeah! I didn't pull in. Proper slapping, biting, hair pulling, gave him a wedgie. Look at him in the eye. Oh, God, so good. Oh, just everything about this is so good. I told you I'm like a pig wallowing around in the mud. I'm absolutely loving it. Perhaps the only light-hearted aspect. Shut up. It's all light-hearted. It's amazing. Apparently the only light-hearted aspect we heard was when someone joked he got bit, and someone assumed it was Larry that had bit Omega, only to then learn that it was Steel. He's been bit. What? Larry's bit someone? No! Ace Steel? In my mind, Ace is in the corner on all fours, barking like a dog. They're like, whoa. And Larry's there going, what's he doing? Kick out by Danielson. We will get back to this. We've heard all sides continued shouting with allegations of legal threats from Punk's side. Again, this is one side of the confrontation and categorically different to the other. We might, I don't know if we'll ever know the truth. I mean, there'll be an investigation. I think whoever threw the first punch is going to be really interesting. That'll be interesting. If anything does escalate from suspensions, it'll be if something significant comes out of the investigation. Oh, God, it's so good, isn't it? It's so good. He gave him a wet willy. A wedgie. I tell you what, a fight with Ace Steel, it's literally anything goes. It's anything goes, isn't it? Street fights are just never going to seem the same to me. No DQ matches will never seem the same because now I know how Ace Steel really fights and what's involved in a real confrontation. It's appalling that I have to see all these planchas, suicide dives, flipping hurricanranas, Canadian destroyers. What a load of palaver. What a load of absolute nonsense. Code reds, reverse ranas. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. It's wet willies, pulling hair, biting, barking like a dog. I don't know. I might have added that one. In my mind, that's what's happening. Ace Steel is howling like a wolf in the locker room. Woo! I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Oh my God, I'm loving it. Woofing away. Am I a dog now? What is going on with Ace Steel? I bet even his wife is there going, he does this. He does this sometimes. This is what he is. This is what he does. Flipping reverse ranas. What a load of rubbish. What a load of rubbish. Paul Carpenter said, apparently Ace Steel's wife was in there, and that's why he went ballistic. Went ballistic? No, he didn't go ballistic. He went feral. That's what he went. He went full-blown feral. Kick out by Danielson. I am trying to watch this match. Mike Tyson was biting. It's true. That's what real fighters do. That's what real fighters do. Take bites out of each other, pull each other's hair. Right, is in position for the buckshot lariat. Stupid buckshot lariat. How am I meant to take any wrestling move seriously now? Ever again? Danielson rolls out the... Oh, God, I come back just as we go to picture-in-picture. Punk with walking out of many promotions for him right now. He's walking out that freaking man right now. He was walking out for that freaking man right now. Marlo, shout out to you. Kenny was trying to dog-nap Larry. He was going to go full boss man, says Luke. The crowd is awkward, says Esteban. Reverse hair pull and a code bite. Yes. Yes, that's exactly what we need. Into the railings goes Danielson. There's a sign that says workers' rights. Have Omega tested for rabies. We need to have Ace Steel tested for rabies. That's what we need to do. Danielson slumped in a chair. Hangman charging over. Big boot right into the side of the head. Elite VP sign. Some of these signs are very interesting. Anna did mention earlier, and I didn't see it, but apparently there was a sign that says being... Has anyone got a sign that says biting the elite? Has anyone took a sign that says biting the elite? The elites. The elites. Biting the elites. But apparently there was a sign that says the elite and it had a bite taken out of the sign. That's clever. That's clever. Ace Steel needs to go onto Pro Wrestling Tees and he needs a biting the elite shirt. I mean, that's money. That's money right there. That's money. No CM Punk shirts. No CM Punk shirts. No, actually. No, not that I can see. I saw a white shirt and I was like, oh, there's one. And then it turned out to be a Roddy Piper one. And then I saw another white shirt, but it was an Orange Cassidy one. I'm sure there is a CM Punk shirt somewhere. Days, we need the full roster singing Daydream Believer. Live Aid style to close the show. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. I think there's a couple of guys in CM Punk shirts in the stands about 4 or 5 rows back, but yeah, certainly not a load of them. Yeah, certainly not a load at all. Both guys are down in the ring. Will you do commentary for NXT Europe? What watch-alongs? We'll have to see. I would be tempted. I mean, we did do NXT UK at the start, but it became very apparent, like, how much interest there was in it, and that interest was limited. Chop coming in by Hangman. These aren't chops, says William Regal. They are seriously hard palm strikes. Danielson round the back of Hangman. Hangman lands on his feet. He's got Danielson up. Oh, sit down. Power bomb. Shoulder up. Shoulder up. Today's Champions League game was Napoli 4, Liverpool 1. We were dire. I get inflation reduction. It works. Like, we give you free money and we cause more debt. Hey, what? Can you put the turquoise cushions, please? I don't have them. I don't have them, sadly. I deleted that. I try not to keep too many pictures on my computer. Just because my old computer was just, honestly, full of just random images that we used on streams and things. So I tried to just clear them off when the streams are done. But it lives on Twitter, but she never replied. Bit rude. It's only trying to help her out. Lovely big chop there by Hangman. Fun fact, MJF owns the bakery that Punk shouted out. He is going to take his favourite off the menu. Is that true? MJF owns that bakery? Is that true? Danielson throwing in a kick to Hangman. Love the new logo. Yeah, it's all right. I don't know. I don't know if I'm crazy about it. I was just looking at the logo and I was like, does that really pop? Does it pop? Don't know. Don't know if it popped. I don't know if I like this one's a bit dark now, so I'm not sure. They're not drastic changes. I just wanted it to pop a little more. I wanted it to stand out a little more. Oh, nice suplex by Danielson, but actually over-rotates Hangman, who lands on his feet. Kick. Oh, clothesline. 2. Shoulder up. Lariat, really. Danielson reversing into crossface. Crossface applied. Danielson with that crossface. The green one was better. Yeah, I mean, that stood out a bit more, but I thought that one looked a little cheap, actually. Crossface being applied. We need some NXT 2.0 theme, says Wrestling Craze. Need NXT 2.0 theme. What, for the streams? Yeah, maybe. That'll be tricky to try and... Because that's just colours, isn't it? Right, he's got... He's trying to transition into the crossface again. Here we are. We've got just over half an hour to go. He's pulling on the nose. Golf cart will be used as a weapon in AEW Fallen Forever. Fallen Forever? Hangman getting back into control. These two down on the ground. Both on their knees. Knee strikes coming in by Hangman. Some of the crowd are standing, applauding. How did Quincy Elliott survive the grueling WWE tryout? Because they really do tear you apart, says Primo. Yeah, he's a big boy, but I don't know, perhaps his cardio is not too bad, or perhaps like he was able to meet a certain benchmark. And I mean, personality is so important. Charisma is so important. Promos and character are so important. Perhaps he ticked those boxes. And then perhaps he just passed the minimum requirement or something on the physical aspect. But he's a big guy, and you do need lots of various shapes and sizes. I mean, I loved Yokozuna, Vader, Bam Bam, Boss Man when he was carrying a bit of weight. I think Volta as well, when he had a bit of weight, was a bit more intimidating than he is now. Oh, the dead eye. 2. Shoulder up by Danielson. I am excited for Quincy Elliott though. Super Diva. I'm kind of into it. I'll probably see. He'll probably be awful, and then I'll be like, oh. But I think he's got a personality. It might sound counterintuitive. Your small intestine is actually your largest, says Coach Co. Here's Hangman going up. Moonsault. Oh. Yeah, doesn't land it. Knee strike. Knee strike by Danielson. Hangman goes down over by the ropes. Danielson tries to get to him, and Hangman rolls out the ring. Good. Got. I love that spot. I love that spot when something happens and the wrestler rolls out the ring. The other one's like, oh. Here's Danielson. Danielson going against the ropes. Suicide dive. Oh, not great. Gets caught. He's a bit too short. He gets made to pay for it. Power bombed onto the edge of the ring by Hangman. Hangman going up top. Moonsault by Hangman. Comes crashing down on Danielson. Grabs him. Chucks him into the ring. He's got him set up for the buckshot. Buckshot. That buckshot. Over the top. Danielson scouted it. Roll up by Danielson. 2, 3, and he gets... Here is your winner. Danielson wins. Danielson wins. There we go. Danielson, Jericho. Jericho already knew. He already knew. New gimmick. Bite match, says Christian. If Mox had beaten Punk, none of this would have happened, said Tiny. Do you want me to make one? I've got an app that makes great ones. Nah, I'm all right. I'm just looking at like different backgrounds, to be honest. I'm not really looking to make like a new logo or anything. I'm just putting it on. I mean, like, there's a chance it might change again. We're just seeing Christian and Jungle Boy. Hello, little bit Little bit of lag. Oh, weathered it. Weathered it. Ace Steel is a criminal. Kenny needs a tetanus shot since he got bit by Steel. Didn't Jericho already tell us? Why are we surprised, says Trini. Hopefully Danielson versus Moxie in the final with Danielson winning. I think Danielson winning would be the right move, actually. I think putting the belt on Danielson right now, someone that you know is not going to be getting involved in that kind of drama, someone new, big name. I think he deserves having AEW World Champion on his list of achievements. Why not do it now? Why not do it now? Yeah. Yeah, Danielson. I would go Danielson. Days, would you say Hangman tried to play Hangman with the viewers about Punk's real intentions? Maybe. Maybe, yeah. I think I don't think he expected it to go the way it went. I think he was probably expecting to have a little bit of a reference, you know, maybe there'd be a little bit of a comeback, but maybe, you know, I think he was expecting it to stay largely passive aggressive because it was very passive aggressive. And I think he was probably expecting it to stay largely passive aggressive. And in all fairness, it sort of did until the press conference when it very much was no longer passive aggressive. It was just aggressive. So, yeah, I don't think he could have foreseen where it was leading. I agreed. Brian is the smart and safe choice. He's a good man and a better wrestler, so a sure bet, says Trini. Jungle Boy should attack Christian in the hospital. Classic SC, said Zoom Station. Would you put the belt on Brian, then lose it to MJF? Actually, yeah, I think I would. If MJF's going to do it, it makes sense for him to take it from a much-loved babyface. So, yeah, that does make sense. That does make sense. I would give it MJF and probably not clean because he's got a new faction now, hasn't he? Which we've heard nothing about tonight. No introduction of this new faction. Haven't got a clue what's going on. They didn't come out, didn't make any appearance. I have no idea if they were referenced. But I could see them potentially, if they're going to be sticking around as a faction, which I'm guessing they are, I could see them potentially helping him out. Does Hangman get buried for this a la Triple H and Curtain Call? I think, yeah. I can't see him being involved in much meaningful. I mean, look, he's a big star. I think even the fans right now are a bit uncertain about him. I think he needs to be used. I don't think it's not going to be a case we won't see him, but he has definitely got a part that he's played in this. And he ain't gonna look right now. Is Hangman in Tony Khan's good books? No, he's not going to be, is he? Because he has absolutely stirred this and been a big part in this. And even though he wasn't involved in charging in the locker room, that's why I think you can look at this tournament and go, Hangman ain't getting past round one. To be honest, I am amazed Hangman was in it at all. I think they'd include him at all. But yeah, I think not future didn't look brilliant for him. Let's put it that way. The immediate future. I mean, I don't think it means that he's done with AEW or anything like that. Oh, is this that group? There we go. So we got what we got. He doesn't look great with long hair. Why is he standing so far back? Saying cut it. We're low on time. That's crazy. Listen. When I've got the microphone in my hand, you've got to give me the same respect you would give your own father. In all fairness, he might have told his own father he's got to wrap it up. If they're out of time, they're out of time. They're beating up an official now. I wouldn't have done this. Not this week. This is like an official that's told them they need to cut it up, and now we're seeing official. So are this lot going to get suspended? Production assistant. We need to restore order is understatement of the year. Excalibur saying we need to restore order. Yeah. What is this? Punk should come back and try and prove he loves the business by passing on knowledge instead of a platform for belittling his views, says G. Kirkland. Job Squad 2.0. Yeah, that segment didn't make them look great at all. I'm confused right now, says Adam. Elizabeth said AEW might be trying to compete with WWE for ratings. Well, I mean they're always trying to. Well, they're trying to compete against them and themselves. Really, I haven't heard too many people saying, "Will they do 1.82 million or anything like that?" That's where WWE are for like Raw and SmackDown. But really, it's AEW trying to stay above 1 million has been the conversation. Oh, undeniably. Just, I mean, look, our watch-alongs are normally around, 8 to 10,000 people that join us for our watch-alongs of AEW Dynamite. And, I mean, earlier we looked and it was like 17. Right now, it has continued to just slowly go down since that initial announcement. Still 20 minutes to go, though. I can tell you it's at about 18 and a half right now. So when all's said and done, we might be snuggling up to about 20,000, which would be double what we would normally do. I don't think that translates as AEW doing double what they normally do. But I think it definitely is an indication they're easily over 1 million this week. Up next, Wheeler Yuta taking on Daniel Garcia for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. This could be our main event. Bowens announced they'll have a rematch at Grand Slam for revenge. I'm pretty sure they're both from New York, so the crowd will go crazy. I'm looking forward to that. I like the acclaims. Dragon Slayer. West Side Gun. Peace, Fly, God, West Side Gun. Ting, ting. I like the ting, ting in the background. It's like a glockenspiel. It's not enough glockenspiel in hip-hop. Ting, ting. Yeah. Ting, ting. Yeah. Some dude showing off his grills, showing off his chains. I wish they had an 8-year-old in the background playing that glockenspiel. That would be sick. That would be sick. Imagine if, like, when you got the ting, ting, like a little 8-year-old in the background. Maybe that girl again. Give her something to do, or -1. I'm a big fan of this ting. Ting, ting. Oh, glockenspiel, yeah. Did you spell the names correctly? I don't know. It's close enough, innit? My approach to that bar at the bottom is if you can look at it and sort of work out who's on, that's good enough, innit? I mean, look. Wheeler Yuta. We all know who that is. Wheeler Yuta. Danny Garcia. Danielson when he did, yeah. Representing Blackpool Combat Club. Did you see the guy with the old camcorder? No. Ah, that's sick. That's such a good idea. Was it like a proper one as well? Was it like one of them? That you have to put like a VHS tape in the side. Not even a little one, handycam one, but like a proper... Would they stop him from doing that? Because everyone films on their phones. There's no difference between filming on your phone, which is higher quality, than having a video cassette recorder, which is lower quality. If anything, that's worse. That's worse. I bet they'd have a word with the video camera guy though. I think Darby would be a really good pick for the finals. He beats Mox in the semi-final. After years, he and Brian would have a great match. Darby wins, then MJF cashes in homegrown versus homegrown. Ishmael said, do you remember when Vince was thinking about doing this on WWF Raw by putting a WCW match on and decided it was stupid? I don't know that he decided it was stupid. I just think the crowd just weren't into it. Booker T, wasn't it? Booker T, Buff Bagwell. Part of the problem is, if you tell your fans that that's rubbish, that's rubbish, that's rubbish, that's rubbish, and then all of a sudden you go, guess what? You know that rubbish thing that we told you was rubbish? We're going to have some of it tonight. Yay! And not even the big stars. Well, one big star. But we don't have Hogan or Sting or anyone. Don't ask about them people. So, yeah, the crowd weren't really buying it. I agree, Darby needs a push. Him beating Moxley would be great, says Ryan. Days, the new logo is good in dark mode, said Stick Wrestler Creator. Okay. Seems like people are fairly on board. Yeah, I just wanted something that popped a bit more. I was looking at it and I was like, I've had it for a while. I really like it. I like the figures in the background, but it doesn't make the logo stand out because there's a few, different colours and things going on. So I was like, I think I just need the logo on a plain background. So I tried green and I was like, I feel that looks a bit cheap. And so then I tried some a bit darker and I was like, that's all right. I don't know. I'm still not sold on it. We'll see. It may change again. Ric Flair to have his final match next week on Dynamite. Tony said AEW killed AEW. I heard Ace Steel is stalking Omega with a knife and fork. Just at the window. Kenny turns around. Oh, he's going full on Silence of the Lambs. You'll go good with a nice Chianti. Yeah, he's proper Hannibal Lecter, isn't he? Buff Bagwell ruined that WCW title match on Raw, says Jim. Mass Chief said the invasion should have started with Sting attacking Taker with a bat to end Monday Night Raw, but Sting didn't like Vince. Yeah, he didn't get his contract, couldn't sign him, could he? I mean, we all know why the invasion was the way the invasion was. Very disappointing. Probably the biggest disappointment. It's weird in a way that they didn't just have WCW as its own show and just put some of their newer talent on it. Put the WCW guys over there, put some of your newer guys over there, and just see if you could get it to catch fire that way. I think the problem is it wouldn't have. I don't know. It would have worked. 'Cause everyone would have known it was Vince. People tuned into WCW because it was an alternative to Vince, and it was an alternative to what was happening, and they were rivals. So it was like pick a side kind of a thing. I mean, it's just not the same, is it? If Vince owns WCW, I think it loses a big part of its appeal. It'd be like if Vince owned AEW. I think a big part of the appeal of AEW is that it is positioned as anti-WWE. We don't represent that sports entertainment rubbish. Again tonight, MJF saying, maybe I'll take the belt and join a real promotion with real fans. If I was Triple H, I'd be like, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice they've used some of their TV time to put us over. Calling us a real promotion with real fans. That's nice. If you gave WCW to Shane and put it on a Saturday, it could have worked. But Vince buying it killed WCW fans. That's true. I think if the fans had genuinely believed that it was Shane that had bought it, and it was Shane's money, and it was Shane's promotion, and this was Shane's opportunity to stick it to his dad and show his dad that he is better than his dad, and they told that story. Yeah. Because then you do keep the competition aspect. But Vince owning it just meant everyone went, it's just more WWE, really, isn't it? Under a different name. Inverted atomic drop by Wheeler Yuta. Punk ain't like some little douchebag on his throne, said Ishmael. Shane should have brought it. It would have had more stories to tell, said Serge. Alex said, am I watching AEW Dark? This is putting me to sleep. Primo said, it's been a good show, but has it lived up to expectation? I don't think it could. I think that's on us, really. That's on me. My expectation was out of control. I didn't know what to expect. That was part of the problem, really. I didn't know what to expect. So if you don't know what to expect, your expectations are a bit out of control. And could they ever be met? The Tony announcement went pretty much identical to what I was expecting. I think if any of you had sat down and been given a blank bit of paper and said, can you just write down what you think Tony's going to say? I think pretty much we all would have got what Tony said. Both the titles have been suspended. The only thing I didn't know is, would it be a tournament? Would it be a battle royal? I didn't think he would just hand it to someone. I thought there'd be some degree of competition. But in all fairness, the trios was just a match. That's not a tournament. It's just a match. And the world title one was a tournament. So that's probably the biggest surprise, was how he dealt with that bit. But him suspending them, or him getting the belts vacated, I should say, I don't think that was a surprise at all. And him not talking about it, I don't think that was a surprise. Garcia pinning Yuta. Yuta kicks out. Punk invented the douchebag, says Chronic Effects. Never mind, this match is bad. They can't sell, said Ishmael. Trini said Vince wanted to destroy WCW, not profit off it. Not really, else he would have managed it differently. He wanted to destroy it and have people pay to watch it burn. CM Punk versus Colt Cabana would be a classic. I was thinking about that, There's a lot of people saying that, turn this into a match. And I do agree that it would be a big match. No one would say it wouldn't be. It would be. If you had CM Punk, Ace Steel, and Will Ospreay against, say, the Bucks and Kenny, and that was your main event, I mean, that's going to be big in it because it's real life. You can do it, build it as real life. You can do the match and everything. I think the only downside is that because it's pro wrestling, that there is a degree of them working together. That there is going to have been an agreed finish. It probably won't be clean. It'll probably be a bit, dirty finish, outside into, interception or whatever it might be. And so I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? I kind of feel like you do the match is going to be really big, but it's not like the old days. This kind of thing would have just been massive. But in 2022, everyone knows this is scripted. Not what's happening now isn't, but if it led to a match, the match would be. So if it got to the point where they're having a match, there is then a degree of them working together. So I don't know. It's hard to know, what does the match do? Is it so big that people tune in and it's a massive success? It's one of their biggest ever matches. Is it like their Hogan turns moment? Do you know what I mean? That's what they're looking for. They're looking for the Hogan turns heel moment. That's the moment WCW changes. Hogan turns heel, NWO is born. That's the moment that WCW goes to the moon. And that is what they're looking for. They're looking for that moment. I don't think they can bring someone in that's going to be that moment. Even WCW brought in Hogan, and it wasn't enough to be beating WWF in the ratings. It got them closer, but it wasn't enough. It was when he turned. So I think like they're waiting for that moment. Would that match be that moment? Or in 2022, are people so like, you know, wise, so clued up, so smart to the business that they would just look at it and go, well, now it's just a work. Now it's just a work. Now they're just working together. So the heat might be there, the hatred might be there, but they're clearly putting it to one side to just work this match. And maybe it does. So it makes me wonder, how do you actually make money out of this? Like good money, real money, big money. How do you take this moment and use it? I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to that. I think that's one of the hardest challenges in this, dare I say, post-kayfabe world, where everyone knows what's going on. Everyone knows it's scripted. Everyone knows this is a soap opera. Everyone, you know, when you get something real, it hits different because it's real. But as soon as you turn it into a professional wrestling match, it stops being real. It becomes scripted. I think this is something that they were battling with maybe the Brawl for All. Do you know what I mean? I think like kayfabe was starting to crumble. And this is maybe what we were looking at with the Brawl for All. I don't think we should go down those roads again, but it's a very interesting conversation. I think we are at picture in picture. We've got 7 minutes to go. The only solution is a Brawl for All, says Wrestle with Andy. That's it. It's interesting, isn't it? It does make you think, is that where this kind of comes from? I mean, could you imagine, right? Just imagine this. Imagine they somehow get Kenny Omega and CM Punk, or Hangman and CM Punk, to agree to a real fight. Imagine that. I don't know how you present it. I don't know if you do it on Dynamite. I don't know if it's just literally its own pay-per-view and the main event is this, and I don't know what undercard you do. I don't know if it's done under the AEW banner. I really, really don't know, but could you imagine CM Punk, Hangman? If Hangman was like, listen, I saw CM Punk, it was an embarrassment in the UFC. It'd be no problem for me to take him on at his age and beat him in a real fight. That would be very interesting. And I don't know what the numbers would be like for that. I don't know if the numbers would be higher than if you do, say, a 6-man professional wrestling match. I don't know. This is such a real feud that if you don't have a real conclusion, will it satisfy? I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. That could be the worst idea in the world. I feel like I'm Vince Russo trying to book a Brawl for All. Didn't Fish challenge Punk to a real fight? I don't know, actually. I don't know. Fisher, O'Reilly and Fish are both MMA trained. I mean, look, this is professional wrestling, so we should be getting it to be a professional wrestling match. I'm just wondering out loud, thinking out loud, like, would people, casuals, would people look at it if it built to a match and go, oh, it's clearly a scripted, clearly a work. It's clearly, do you know what I mean? They're clearly working together now, so I'm not that interested in seeing them work together. This whole thing has been about them hating each other, so I want to see them, you know, hating each other still. I don't want to see them working together. The build would be fantastic, though, because, you know, they could still be cutting promos that could have a very realistic edge to it, and they could be telling you this is not, I'm going in there and I'm throwing, you know. So they could do promos to make it work, and it would sell, and it would be huge. But is it the best outcome? Is it the best blow off? I don't know. Fish did challenge Punk, says Anthony. Do you think the next Blood and Guts will be Mindy's Bakery versus Target? It's going to be CM Punk, FTR, Ace Steel against 4 randomly chosen Target managers. Yeah. And let me tell you, they are not happy. It reminds me of Edge and Matt Hardy, says Xavier. Yeah. Wheeler Yuta is standing over Garcia. Grabbing him by the ears. Garcia up on his feet. Garcia trying to roll through. Sharpshooter. The Dragon Tamer. John said, I like your work shoot promos. John Woodmus, shout out to you, my friend. Well, I mean, like, yeah, some of the promos for the build for that would be fantastic. If they could build to any kind of match, it would be fascinating. They would be the best segment on the shows, wouldn't they? Whatever the match was, and it would more than likely be a pro wrestling match. Can't see anyone agree. I mean, maybe CM Punk would, in all fairness. Do you know what I mean? If you said to CM Punk, do you want to get your hands on Hangman? Go out there and just go one-on-one. I think he'd be up for it. But, yeah, John, shout out to you, dudes. Got a couple of minutes left in this one. Is Target going to be a stage in the AEW game? It's a mini game. You're CM Punk and you go running around a Target trashing it, and you've got to avoid the security. Oh my God. Give me that game. Give me that game. It could be a mobile game. Garcia gets the win. The boyhood dream has come true. Daniel Garcia has done it. There's confetti shooting out. There we go. We've got a brand new Ring of Honor Pure Champion. Here is Bryan Danielson. Wonder if Mindy's put their edibles in the muffins. Mindy's is famous for its cannabis edibles. I didn't know that. Here is Danielson. Oh, Wheeler Yuta pushing Danielson away. Why? Wheeler Yuta shakes the hand of Garcia. Danielson snatches the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. Oh, he wants to put it around his waist. Danielson putting the Ring of Honor Pure Championship around the waist of Garcia. Holds up his arms. Here's Jericho. Oh, God. Oh, we're going to get another fight now. Oh, God. No, it's going to be Jericho and Daniel. There's going to be biting. Wheeler Yuta's going to... Oh, my God. We don't need this drama. Why can't everyone just get along? Jericho coming down. The greatest wrestler, the greatest sports entertainer in the world has come down, and he is looking horrified. As AEW Dynamite comes to an end. Days, help me out. I've put $100 on Nate Diaz. I know it was dumb, but what if? It's pretty dumb. I think Chimaev's winning that, bud. I mean, look. Never say never in the UFC, but... oh my God, we've got some action! We've got exclusive content right now! No, it's gone. Brilliant, thanks. Thanks, AEW. Jeez Louise. Right, we don't do the post-show reviews for AEW. Probably should. But I always feel, I've said before, I always feel like I miss out on being the Elite, Elevation, Dark, all the other stuff that goes on. So I always worry that I could be like, why is this happening? Why has Penelope Ford got this opportunity? And then everyone's going to be like, well, if you watch Being the Elite, you would have seen blah, 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 blah. So that's why we don't do them. But yeah, hey-ho. That's why we'll do get your thoughts now as to what you think about the show. So what do you score AEW Dynamite. Difficult one, to be honest, because certainly plenty of talking points. For Wednesday night, I think we've got to say that it was eventful. It was always going to be eventful, but it was eventful. There was some good wrestling. I don't think anyone was going to be down on Danielson Hangman. And main event had some nice wrestling in it. Some people will have been into the trios match as well. But I don't think that it would have met many people's expectations, because I think expectations were very, very high, to be honest. So not really much they could do. Not really much they could do, unless he came out and said exactly what he's done. You know, there's an investigation, and actually spoke about it. Feel like you learn more from Fightful. I mean, you do learn more from Fightful and learn more from Wrestling Observer than you do from the actual show itself. But his hands are tied. I mean, there's legal ramifications. HR are involved. It is what it is. Brad said Young Bucks need to go to PWG or New Japan. EVPs have had beef with Cody, FTR, Punk. At some point, they might be the problem. 4.5 said Riz. 6.5 says Rob. 8.5 says Samuel. 7 from Larry. Ron says 8. AEW will start some new pushes. They've got to. Brenton said 9.87. Chris said solid 8. Eve says 6.5. And Broken said 7 bites out of 10 rabies. Bahamask said women's match was as usual. Brad says 6. Tony showed them he doesn't need CM Punk. I think people forget this is a wrestling show, not a drama center, said Mason. John said 7.9. Larry said 7. Letterman said 6.5. Dylan says 7. 6 daisies out of 10. Smurfy said 6 target managers out of 10. Brenton, shout out to you. Ernesto says 7. Shaquem said 5.25. I hate the fact Dax is in a singles match for a world title when he's a tag wrestler. He's not, is he? He's not in that. He's not in the tournament. So the tournament is Sammy and Darby. Winner will face Moxley. Danielson beat Page tonight. He'll now face Jericho. So actually, by the time we're done with Rampage, we should be at the point where it's Jericho, Danielson, and then I expect it to be Sammy and Moxley. It could be Darby. But I'm just thinking Moxley is a face. It probably makes sense to put him up against a heel. So Moxley against Sammy. And then I'm thinking Jericho won the other day. I think they give Danielson the rematch. That makes it 1-1. So then you put Danielson in the final. And then for me, Sammy or Moxley, I would go Sammy. Because that way you are guaranteed a brand new AEW champion. So I would go Sammy. I think if Moxley is in the final, he's been around this title a lot. I think if you do Danielson against Sammy, I think it'll be a great match. You're guaranteed a new AEW champion. And I would go that way. And it's face versus heel as well. And, you could even have Ty making out that she's going to get involved. Oh, my God. You could have Ty getting involved and then Brie Bella comes down. Brie Bella out of nowhere. Boom! Deals with Ty Mello, Ty Conti. That leaves it Sammy. Sammy is shocked. You don't bring Brie in just for that one moment. She just helps her husband even up the scores. A little bit like, do you remember Candice LeRae and Zelina Vega when it was Johnny Gargano taking on Andrade at NXT TakeOver? That was cool. Candice came running down and dealt with Zelina. That was cool. So, yeah. Imagine the pop for Brie Bella. It would be the biggest pop she's ever got in her life. She comes running down, deals with Ty Conti and Danielson, then smile on his face. It just leaves Sammy and Danielson. Danielson gets the win and we got a new champion. I think it'll be Danielson Darby, said Master Chief. MJF will meet the winner of the Grand Slam winner. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, well, I think I think we do crown a new champion, and then MJF, I think, does face the winner, yes. Yeah, this isn't a number one contendership, is it? Like, the winner of this gets crowned champion. Don't they? I don't know now. Now you've got me wondering. They should call AEW Dynamite AEW Drama. John said, Wrestling Days, love to see Daniel's wife get involved. MJF should get a target manager as his tribal counselor. Yes. I'm sure Brie is signed with WWE. Oh, she might be. Yeah, she might be. She might be under one of those, like, ambassador roles. Yeah, you could be right. Bahar Musk said Dax versus Claudio for the Ring of Honor title. More random booking. These titles seem cursed. Have you checked in with Triple T? He must be over the moon with Daniel Garcia winning a belt. Obviously, I haven't, but do it. Hit him up. See what he thinks. We might actually get to talk some wrestling on the Wrestling Escape pod. I mean, it might all be about Daniel Garcia, but yeah. I'm going to aim to get our Discord. First of all, I'm taking control of the Discord bag. Then I'm going to try and get it fixed so that people can hear me. And we might also talk some wrestling now that Daniel Garcia's won. Alex said 5.3 due to no CM Punk and the Bucks still on the Rampage promos, which goes against what Tony did to CM Punk. That was bleep on AEW to side with the Bucks. Larry said there's a louder pop in battle bots than WWE and AEW. Darby 2 belts, says Michael. How about Brie shows up wearing a mask and takes care of Ty Conti? Was it Brie? Was it not Brie? And her top says mask mode. Mystery mode. Mystery mode. Mystery mode. Ba, 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 ba. Tony showed them he doesn't need CM Punk. Control your discords, says Rotem. CM prison. Wow. Chris said, did Wardlow seem frustrated? Maybe he wants to be in the tournament. I think he is frustrated. I mean, the build for Wardlow was great. Great to, like, build to that MJF match. And then he got there, and the booking after has been not great at all. I mean, all that momentum has just completely fallen away. Now he just feels like another person on the show. Such a shame. They had something really hot with Wardlow. It's hard to know exactly where we went wrong. I don't know if we, got to the point where he rebelled against the person that was oppressing him and then it was always going to settle down. Or did we need to move him to the world title? Was it a case that he should have set his sights on the world title rather than going for a mid-card title? I don't know. I think some of the spots as well, like him beating up the security and everything was just a bit rubbish. It was just rubbish. So I think we definitely put him in some segments which weren't great. But can I tell you as well, because I know some of you might be interested, we were looking at how the viewership of the stream went. It really held around about 1,000 for a long, long time. Obviously, as we got towards the end, and certainly the main event, it has dipped off. It doesn't seem like Garcia, Wheeler Yuta has really kept people around. I don't think people are really that taken by that match, unfortunately. So, yeah, we have seen a gradual decline as what you would have expected. It's sort of held at about 1,000 people. So I'd imagine that AEW will have held for a while. But that main event, we did not see anyone coming back in to see that main event. That main event has, according to these numbers, not done it. Ace WWE, we will look at the poll in a second. Ace WWE 2003 said, hope you are doing well. How long do you think Dominic will be heel for, and when do you think he turns face again? To be perfectly truthful, if I'm booking Dominic, he is heel for at least the next 3 years. At least. Because I am not a fan of heel face, heel face, heel face. I think if you do that too often, then you get what happened to Big Show. And I just think that it loses all of its impact. You can really turn someone a few times in their career, but you don't want to be doing it You don't want to be doing it that often. I mean, they can start as a face like maybe MJF. He was with Cody, and we all knew he was going to turn, and then he turns heel. And then really, you look to keep them as like heel. I think that people are obviously very complex. They've got good and bad in them. So, I mean, look, sometimes they are going to be good. Heels are going to act good. They're going to stick up for other heels or whatever, or maybe there's a heel that they, care about and or a face that they care about, sorry. And, maybe they're like friendly towards them or something. But pro wrestling tends to be a little bit more black and white than that. I mean, you don't tend to get so much grey. You tend to... I know they said that you don't get like heels and faces in AEW, but you do. I mean, you just do. I mean, I think it was Cody that said that, and it's just nonsense. I mean, you do get heels and faces in AEW. So for me, with WWE in particular, they also are heels and faces. And so, yeah, Dominic for me is a heel now. That's it. I mean, if you attack your dad, I don't think you can like just come back from that very quickly. I think this is it. And to be honest, this is the best he's looked. It maybe ever. Him being with Rhea, I really want them to be Sammy and Ty, a couple, smooching each other's faces off. Just really like disrespectful. Just really like I would have him. It was a great suggestion by someone that said that Dominic should be now Dominic Guerrero. That was a great suggestion. He should be Dominic Guerrero. I love that suggestion. So, yeah, I would definitely look to do and go that way with him. So I would keep him heel for a long time. Philip said, what is your personal opinion? Do you think Punk should be let go? Should he be the only one let go? So if I was dealing with this situation, I would have done what Tony did. I would have gone to HR. I would like to think I would have shut Punk down before it went too far. I don't know that it would have resolved the situation because I think Punk would have still been angry. Punk might have even have walked out of the company. But to be honest, we would have avoided him at least making these public comments. So I'd like to think I would have been able to have said, let's not do this here. Yeah. Kind of a situation. And I don't know how he would have reacted to that. But I feel like Tony needed to at least take control. You can't really be in charge of how someone reacts. All you can do is be in charge of the situation. And I think if he is going off and making comments about other people on your roster, you have got a duty of care to those people. Like they are your employees as well. So you can't really sit there whilst he is saying all this stuff about other people that work for you that are in your company on a platform. I mean, you are giving him that platform. That was an AEW branded media scrum. That is your platform that he is going off on about other members of your team, about other people that work for you. I would like to think in that moment, I would have shut him down and said, this isn't the time for these comments. Can we focus on what went down tonight? And if he was to continue, then maybe I would say, we're going to end this here, guys. Thank you very much. Can we have a word? And maybe we leave the room and, we deal with it personally. That would be what would have gone through my mind. Whether that would have solved this situation, I genuinely don't know, because clearly these frustrations were out there now. Clearly these frustrations were overflowing. And there's every chance that there still would have been a confrontation backstage. There's every chance that this still would have exploded. Maybe not last night or maybe not the weekend, but at some point, Punk would have said something and this would have exploded and there would have been a confrontation, and that confrontation likely would have led to an altercation. So could this have been avoided? I genuinely don't know. But I think I would have shut it down at the press conference. In regards to how you then react, say there is a confrontation, yeah? How would you react to that? I think what you do is, right, you suspend all parties that are involved as an investigation is pending. So if you're going to suspend them, you don't know how long they'll be suspended for. You don't know how long an investigation is going to take. So I think they do have to forfeit the titles. Now, that might be seen as unfair if there is, like, say CM Punk turns out to be completely innocent. Say he's not because he made the comments, but say he goes into his locker room and he does nothing. Yeah. They burst in, they get in his face, maybe they throw the first punch. You know, all he did was the comments, which are pretty bad, but all he does is the comments. He doesn't start the altercation. Maybe you could look at it and say, well, it's really unfair to treat your babyface that way. But the bottom line is you've got to establish the truth, haven't you? I mean, we don't know what the truth is. There was an altercation. I don't know how long that investigation's going to take. I can't have the titles being held up. So I'm afraid I have to do this. My hands are tied. I have to suspend these guys. I would suspend them with pay. I wouldn't suspend them without pay because, to be honest, until the investigation is concluded, I don't know who to blame. I don't know where the blame is. So I'm not going to suspend people without pay because there could be some innocence here. There could be some people that have been caught up in something. You know, Kenny, for example. Kenny, from the sounds of it, tried to get Larry out of the room. Then he tried to break up the fight. And he's ended up getting bitten and having his hair pulled. So how much do you point the finger of blame at Kenny Omega? So I would suspend Kenny because at this point, I don't know the truth. So I would suspend him, but I'd suspend him with pay. I'd suspend Punk with pay. I would suspend Bucks with pay. I would do an investigation. And then really it comes down to the results of that investigation. If I'm very interested in who threw the first punch, very interested, and that person might be receiving a bit more of a harsher punishment, but it really depends what comes back from the investigation. I'm not really looking to lose anyone, to be honest. I'm not really looking to lose my biggest draw. I'm not really looking to lose the elite who this company is built on. I'm hoping that we can find a way forward, but to be honest, it's not even so much the punishment that you dish out. I mean, look, say you end up fining them all, a good amount of money, and you suspend them all for a month without pay, and they're fined, but they all keep their jobs after that, right? Fine. Everyone is dealt with that way, right? An example. The bigger question is, what do you do once that is done and they're all back to work? Because how are they going to work together? How are they going to work together? That's the bigger problem in my eyes. It's not so much what are you going to do punishment-wise, because I don't think Tony wants to let these people go. I can't think Tony wants to lose CM Punk. He's fighting tooth and nail for ratings. It's losing CM Punk, and I know people might say that's the wrong attitude to have, but equally, if the investigation comes back and he's not guilty of throwing the first punch, he was just in his locker room, how much blame do you put on him? I mean, yes, he came out with the comments, but those comments are an escalation from things that have happened before, and the EVPs have made comments. So you can then go back and say, well, is it the EVP's fault? Because they've made comments. Hangman went rogue on his promo. So is it Hangman's fault? I mean, this is just a constant escalation. At what point do you say that's the point it went too far? Is it the fight? Is it CM Punk's comments? Is it Hangman's promo? Is it stuff that was put out in the media? Like, at what point did it go too far? Because it's just been a constant escalation. So to be honest, I look at it as everyone is in the wrong. Everyone has played a part in this getting to where it's gotten to. I don't think there's necessarily an innocent party. I think they're all guilty of escalating this to a level it never should have got to. No one was adult enough to stop this, to sit down and talk to the other party and nip this in the bud. No one was big enough. I think them as EVPs is something that really needs to be looked at, because as EVPs, at some point this should have been dealt with. Again, without an investigation, you don't know what kind of conversations have been had. So I think it's very difficult to know how guilty, didn't you? So it's very hard without all the details to know exactly the full story, the full journey. And that's why I can't say, oh, I'd fire Punk. I can't say that. No one can say that, because we don't know the full details. And this has been a long journey as well. So in my eyes, I feel like they've all played a part in escalating this. So I would look to, give them all a slap on the wrist. Definitely, I think suspending them, stripping them of the titles. I don't disagree with that. But my bigger concern would be, how do I get them on the same page? How do I get them working together? if you take the EVP status away from Omega and the Bucks, that is going to sting. It's going to sting. And are they going to be able to work with Punk? It might be that they can't work with each other and someone has to go and a decision has to be made. And who do you lose? Do you lose the Bucks and Kenny? Or do you lose CM Punk? Who do you lose? And if it gets to that point, that's hard. That's hard. I would like to think that there would be several stages before we got to that. And if it gets to that point, I don't know which way I would go. I really don't know. I really, really don't know which way I would go. I don't know. Because you've got your biggest star, or you've got the people that this company is built on. Can you imagine be all elite wrestling without the elite? Kenny's falling apart. I don't feel like Kenny's got... I could be wrong, but I don't feel like he's got loads to give, or not as much as he did. I feel like his injuries are really adding up. I think he'll be in trios matches for a while, tag matches for a while. I think you'll get some singles matches out of him, but how much are you getting out of him? I don't know. Young Bucks are obviously very popular, massive part of the promotion, but so is CM Punk. I mean, it's really, really difficult. It's really difficult. Some people say CM Punk is like a cancer. He's come into the company and he's just ripped it apart from the inside and caused all this damage, and he needs to get out. And some people are on the Kenny and the Young Bucks side. Some people are on the CM Punk side, saying he's the biggest draw. He is someone that the fans love, their top babyface. Kenny and the Bucks as EVPs completely out of line. This is their fault. If these comments hadn't been put out there by them, this would never have got to this stage. So there's people on both sides. I feel like this is one people are really, really split on. And I hate sitting on the fence, but I don't want to give you an answer that I don't believe in. And I really don't know which way I would go on Punk. And if it came down to it, I would hope that I could get it to a point where I didn't have to make that decision. Even if it was the case that I said to them, you don't need to see each other. You will never be in matches against each other. I can even make guarantees you will never be on the same show. You will be at the same pay-per-views, but I will make sure that you are kept apart. There will never be any interaction with Punk and the Elite. There will never be any interaction. And I would hope that maybe that would be a compromise. And I would stick with it. I would find a way. I would hire someone whose sole job, right? They're not paid tons of money, right? Nice little wage. But their sole job is logistically to ensure that the Elite and CM Punk, their paths never cross. Yeah, their segments are always kept far apart where they don't see each other at Gorilla. Their trailers are always ensured that they are not next to each other. They're just constantly ensured they're kept apart. It's as good as the other person has gone. It is as good as they are gone. And I would have to hope that that would be a compromise. I would put that suggestion forward first to see if there was any wiggle room. I'm ready for a new company, says BMST. If Punk was an ice lolly, he'd like himself. You cut ties with CM Punk. The Elite had a big hand in starting AEW, so you can't cut them. They're also in the name of the company. Besides, Punk's shelf life is very short. Does anyone else feel that it's weird that WWE had the same issues and now has resolved it, and now at the exact same time AEW is doing it, says BMST. I'd do it for $25 an hour because they're divas, says Kevin. Yeah, I think you could get someone to do that. Outdoor said, I understand your point, but you're just trying to paint over it. Khan needs to get rid of Punk. Yeah, I mean, look, there's people definitely saying that, and the locker room says that Punk needs to go. If I'm Tony Khan, though, my feeling is that Punk is a massive star, massive merch seller. Tony Khan went down a list of accomplishments that Punk has achieved. Like every show he's been on has been bigger than the last in regards to pay-per-views. He has got some of the highest rated segments in AEW history. Like his YouTube views, his merch sales, like his Google searches. Like Tony Khan was just going down a list of like everything CM Punk has brought to the company. And I can understand that being very difficult to just leave and walk away from. I think that if you're battling every week to get the biggest rating you can, to get the most you can, and losing Punk definitely hurts that. Now, you can definitely say it's a bit like Brexit, right? What they said about Brexit was that when Brexit was voted for, it would be short-term pain, but in the long run, it would be better for the UK because we could negotiate better deals around the world. So, you know, all of the deals the UK negotiates are the deals that the European Union negotiate. We're tied into those deals because we're part of the European Union. So if we left the EU, then that would allow us to negotiate our own international deals, get better terms, so on, so on, so on. Now, wherever you stand on Brexit, I don't care, right? But that is a little bit similar because if you was to part ways with Punk, my guess is that you would take some short-term pain. But in the long run, does it allow you to focus on some other stars, give them what would have been Punk's TV time, and use them in the positions that Punk would have been in so that it gives you an even stronger future? I mean, do you remember before Punk was around, we had the 4 pillars. We don't really talk about the 4 pillars anymore of Darby, Sammy, MJF. Was it Britt? I think Britt Baker was one. And there was another one as well, wasn't there? Darby, Sammy, MJF, Britt Baker. Darby, Sammy, MJF, Britt Baker. I feel like there was another one, and I can't remember who it was. Whoever it is, they've fallen off. But yeah, there was the 4 pillars, but we don't really talk about that so much anymore. They are trying to bring through talent. Obviously, you've got Garcia, Wheeler Yuta working with Danielson. But yeah, maybe if you did lose Punk, you could, in the long run, get yourself to, you know, a better position because you're investing that time in younger talent and giving them the opportunities. I don't know. It's difficult. I mean, if you lose Punk, you take short-term pain and potentially long-term pain. I think that's undeniable. It's undeniable that you take short-term pain, but long-term would be questionable. And I don't know if the same isn't true with the Elite. I know it's all Elite wrestling, and I know that taking the Elite out is crazy. But I don't know. I feel like this company is bigger than them. Danielson, Jericho, Moxley, Keepin Punk, Miro, Britt Baker, Adam Cole. This company is no longer just built on the Bucks, Kenny, Cody, Hangman. That, you know, in a way, that's how it started. That's how it started at the very beginning. And of course, we added Jericho. I mean, if Jericho left, this company wouldn't fall apart. It would lose something pretty major, but it wouldn't fall apart. And I think we're 3 years in, and I think that this company is bigger than CM Punk. I think it would survive. I wouldn't want to lose him if I was Tony. I wouldn't want to lose him. But if we did, it would survive. And I have to say the same is true. I mean, look, we've just gone how long without Kenny? And we survived, and it was fine. And I think you can lose the Bucks, and you'll survive, and it's fine. I think the Acclaimed are more over than the Bucks at the moment. I think that you've got plenty of stars on this roster that you could lose. You could lose one of them, and you'd be all right. But it's making the decision as to who to lose, if it got to that I think would be a decision I wouldn't want to make. I wouldn't want to make it. I would make it if I was in Tony's position. I would. But I would try everything first before getting to that. MJF was the 4th pillar. He fell off for a few months. No, MJF, Britt Baker, Jungle Boy. It was Jungle Boy. It was MJF, I think it was MJF, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara. They were the 4 pillars. And then I think, didn't CM Punk say to MJF, you're too stupid to realise you're not one of the 4 pillars. Britt Baker is the fourth pillar. Kind of implying it's Jungle Boy, it's Sammy, it's Darby, and it's Britt, and MJF is not one of the four. That's it's Jungle Boy. Oh, thank God we got there. Punk wasn't suspended, but Kenny and the Bucks were. Does that set a bad example? I don't know that that's true, is it? I don't know that that's true. I don't know who's been suspended. I haven't seen that information confirmed anywhere. MJF will be the biggest star in wrestling, says Ryan. Keaton said Day's target can be bodyguards for Tony, just in case no one bites him. That's what we need to do. We need to get the target crew in. It's absolutely unacceptable. Jungle Man, he did say that Britt replaced him. Philip said, I feel bad for Tony Khan. Just last week he said after Sunday the roster will be back. That is true. That is true. He did say that following All Out, this would be the strongest roster. And now he's lost CM Punk, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks. And Ace Steel, the flipping Matilda of the All Elite Wrestling world. Young Bucks versus Punk and his trainer, a real MMA cage match. The loser leaves town. God, you could do that. You could do that. You could do that. Do a match and do it. Loser leaves AEW. Obviously, they don't, but they do for a while. I mean, normally when there's a loser leaves, they end up coming back eventually. But that would be interesting. That would be an interesting blow off. That would be interesting. Dave and Sean Ross Sapp are reporting it. They're reporting that they've suspended. Let's have a look. I've got. Oh, well, I have not seen that news. I have not seen the news that. I have not seen the news that the Bucks and Kenny have been suspended, but that CM Punk has not. I will have to have a scroll through and see if that's anywhere. I mean, at what's that? 8:15. Dave Meltzer said Punk injury believed to be serious. Rumors from Sunday, he hasn't confirmed them, but it's confirmed to me no matter what happens discipline-wise, the title situation has to be changed and addressed tonight. So Meltzer was saying whatever happens disciplinary-wise, so that sort of suggests he doesn't know what's happening disciplinary-wise. That's interesting. 3 hours ago, though, the report that Thunder Rosa asked for her release is not true. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. I did hear as well, by the way, that his injury is serious and actually requires surgery. And he picked up that injury during the match against Moxley, not the altercation. So CM Punk's injury is real. Michael said, everyone's reporting it. Sports Illustrated. I can't see anyone reporting it. I can't see anyone reporting that the Young Bucks and Kenny have been suspended and that CM Punk has not. Certainly no statements from AEW saying that. Jay said, I can't see that either. If the Elite leaves AEW, I mean, look, I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying that I have not been sent that by anyone. I've not seen that reported absolutely anywhere. And if you've got it, feel free to send it me. If that is the latest news, that's big news, isn't it? That's big news. If he has suspended the Young Bucks and Kenny, and he has not suspended CM Punk, that is big news. But that is not news that I've seen. Toni Storm is going to take over Britt Baker's position based on how she handled herself in the scrum. Type Sports Illustrated with CM Punk. Sports Illustrated CM Punk. The All Out press conference revealed one of the dirtiest secrets from time to time it happens. There was a case on Sunday night. CM Punk spoke at the press conference. Kenny Omega Young Bucks, as well as Scott Banner. The focus press conference should have been on the return of MJF. When Punk exited the room, blah, 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 blah. List of those receiving suspensions includes Omega, Matt, Nick Jackson, Pat Buck, Christopher Daniels, Michael Nakazawa, Brandon Cutler. Multiple sources have shared that Punk and Ace Steel will either be amongst those suspended or will no longer be with the company. So this Sports Illustrated article says that suspensions include Omega, the Young Bucks, Pat Buck, Christopher Daniels, Michael Nakazawa, Brandon Cutler, and sources have shared that Punk and Steel will either be suspended or no longer with the company. So they're saying that he's either suspended or worse, fired. So it looks like it's suspensions all round. I've seen nothing in regards to him being fired. Nothing confirmed to him being fired. Actually, nothing confirmed to them being suspended. But Sports Illustrated, it is true, are reporting that they've been suspended. And I did see it reported earlier. Sean Ross Sapp saying that the was suspensions that were expected. But I haven't seen any confirmation of those suspensions. There's been no announcement of those suspensions. But it is true. This Sports Illustrated story is saying Sports Illustrated has learnt that suspensions for every person involved. I was super disappointed Britt wasn't there. Would have loved to have hit a DMD. Right, where are we? We're well over. Let's have a look at these results, shall we? See what you lot thought. What do you score AEW Dynamite? 34% said 7 to 775. 29% said 8 to 10. 19% said 6 to 675. 16% said 575 or below. Michael said, I trust Sports Illustrated. They've more sources and they're more credible than Dave and Sean. I disagree with that. I don't think they're more credible than Dave and Sean. I think Dave and Sean have undoubtedly got sources. And honestly, I can't remember anything Sean's got wrong. I'm sure he has. But I think he's pretty good at following up and checking on that. So, no, I trust Sean. If Sean was to say something, I trust Sean. Dave, I don't know. I've heard people saying, Bruce Pritchard doesn't like Dave Meltzer, does he? I mean, Cornette doesn't like Dave Meltzer, but in all fairness, I think Cornette's issues with Dave Meltzer is more Dave's love for AEW rather than him necessarily getting, stories wrong. So, I don't know. Listen, if Sports Illustrated, they're a massive company. If they're reporting something, I would listen. So, if they're saying that the suspension's all round, I don't necessarily have a reason to disbelieve that. So I'm not saying that I disbelieve Sports Illustrated. I don't know that I would trust them more than Dave and Sean. That's subjective, innit? Everyone's entitled to their own opinions on that. Are you streaming tomorrow? What day is tomorrow? Thursday. I don't know, to be honest. When it comes to Thursdays, we do a member stream for the members of the channel. I will do a member stream tomorrow. Those are... we do have people calling in on member streams, and we use our Discord for that. So we'll probably look to do that tomorrow. In regards to a public stream, I think it really depends what happens. I do tend to use Thursdays for like really getting research done for the weekend, and we got a pretty big weekend with UFC 2 something. So yeah, a big UFC show. So we'll see if there's big news tomorrow, if there's further developments, if we get like, you know, some news coming through that someone's been fired, or do you know what I mean? There's like more developments, then maybe we'll jump live and you know, have a conversation about things. If not, I mean, if it's just a little thing, it might just be in a video. So yeah, I'll say no plans at the moment, but well, we'll see, won't we? We'll see. I tagged you on Twitter. Check something. Please. 35 minutes ago, we're live talking suspensions, titles being stripped, tournaments, new champions, and everything. So Sean, it looks like Sean is going through everything on his live stream right now. So seems like Sean is live talking about the whole situation. So, well, we're going to wrap up. So if you want to find out the latest on everything, or certainly what Sean knows, then you can jump over and he'll have it all in there. Right. Awesome. We're done. Good. Thank you for trying to clear up. Still, the whole thing remains confusing, says John. Right, we're done. Yeah. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you got like some entertainment, joy from it. You know, full of drama, but listen, do you know what? People go to work all day, and like, if you're anything like me, look forward to like, oh, I can't wait for tonight. Can't wait to see what's going to happen tonight. And those kind of things just help you get through the day sometimes. So even though it might look like we're reveling in the drama, we are. But we're only doing it because it's entertaining. It's entertaining. It's something that will have helped a lot of people, actually. I think people can lose sight of that. Like, this is definitely something people will have really looked forward to today. It will have helped them get through some, like, pretty rubbish stuff at work. Well, at least we've got all that AEW stuff tonight. So, you know, if you look at it as entertainment, I know, like, it's serious and the serious repercussions and we don't know where it's going to lead. And to be perfectly truthful, I don't want anyone to lose their jobs. Like, I don't want CM Punk to lose his job. I don't want the Bucks to lose their job. I don't want Kenny to lose their job. Hence why, if I was Tony, I'd be trying to find a way forward of keeping them all like within the company, because I don't want them to lose their jobs. I like the fact that we've got something to get excited about and get our teeth into. It's a shame that it's all so real and it's not like a juicy storyline. It's a shame that it's all so real, but listen, it was good, it was fun, it was entertaining, we had a laugh with it, and we'll see what the next chapter brings. But appreciate the support. Have a good evening wherever you are, and I will hopefully see you again next time. Bye for now.